the Knicks tonight in Madison Square Garden, looking for a little bit of, well, not the Kings. The Knicks are probably looking for a little bit of revenge because in the homecoming or the return to Sacramento for Mike Brown, the Kings embarrassed the Knicks in that game. At the time, Mike had said it was the worst he's seen the team play that season. Of course, they lost Jalen Brunson in that game like 4, 5, 6 minutes in, which had a major impact on that. But now I'm sure the Knicks, who are trying to not just beat the Sacramento Kings and get a little revenge on that, the Knicks are trying to turn their season around and right the ship a little bit because they've been floundering as of late. Mm-hmm. I'm curious for people like me who like Mike Brown a lot and appreciate Mike Brown a lot. The saga's never really over. But since Mike has had his return moment, he had his first game against the Sacramento Kings, regardless of the result, is the bad blood over? Are the narratives over? Is tonight just a random Knicks versus Kings game in the middle of a lost season in late January? Or is there still a little bit of energy, and I'm curious what the listeners feel about this too. Is there still a little energy or fire, you think, to this matchup because it's Mike Brown and it's still so soon?
Well, first of all, for selfish reasons, I hope there is.
Yeah.
And it always makes a stretch like this a little bit more fun to talk about and maybe watch. But I do feel like, and I am going to task you guys with filling me in on maybe any details I missed with what went wrong with those two.
Yep.
Because from what I saw in the last meeting, I know that there was like the fist bump thing that didn't happen. And then after Doug was asked in a presser, like the last question that night about Mike Brown, if I didn't feel like more awkward in this, I don't know a situation recently watching a presser where I felt more awkward. Mm-hmm. As Doug answered that question, tried to skirt around it, and then just pretty much says, all right, we're done for the night. You could tell there was some sort of animosity there between the two. I don't know the full details of it, but it seems to keep actually kind of boiling a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm happy to fill in the gaps from what I know about their relationship and how it kind of got to that point. We'll dive into that, the bad blood between the two of them, in just a little bit too. This segment, we're going to talk about why the New York Knicks might be a perfect team to potentially trade for Keon Ellis. So we're going to get into that today. In the next segment, I want to dive into, like, we know Scott Perry inherited a mess, but it might be even worse than we thought. We'll talk about that today. Very excited to have Q Myers, the host of the Locked On Raiders podcast and from ESPN Radio in Las Vegas. He's going to join us at 11:05 to talk about the Raiders, their coaching search, Fernando Mendoza, the Tom Brady era. We've got a Jonathan Kuminga update from ESPN. Y'all, I don't think Kuminga's going anywhere. But Giannis Antetokounmpo might. We'll talk about where Giannis could potentially go as the best and worst landing destinations. And our own Brendan Nunez from Sactown Sports will join us at 1 o'clock. But yes, we do know that it's pretty clear that Mike and Doug don't like each other very much. And the best insight that I can provide on that situation is simply, so Doug was a commentator for the Sacramento Kings, a TV broadcaster for the Kings for a handful of years. And then on the final year of Luke Walton's tenure here in Sacramento as the head coach, Luke hired Doug as a assistant coach. And after Luke was let go mid-season and they went through the rest of the season or whatever, and they brought in Mike Brown to be their new head coach, ownership basically imposed Doug onto Mike. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, we want you to have Mike on your coaching staff. Okay. Or, excuse me, we want you to have Doug on your coaching staff.
Doug Christie.
Doug Christie, not Doug Perry or Scott Christie. We want you to have Doug on your coaching staff. So Mike agreed to it. So it's not like Mike, but I'm sure it was heavily implied, like, we really want you to take Doug onto your staff. So Mike probably felt a certain type of way about having a guy that he didn't really trust or choose put onto his staff.
I get that.
And look, because in Sacramento we know how ownership involvement has been over the years, there was always this feeling of, is Doug being groomed or prepared to take over as the future head coach of the Sacramento Kings? And regardless of if that was the case or not, we know Doug had a passion, a desire to be a head coach, just like anybody else on Mike Brown's staff. So I don't think it was a situation like this was a House of Cards or Game of Thrones or anything like that, where it's just like, oh, this coup is happening. And at some point, there's going to be a mutiny led by Doug Christie to upend Mike Brown or anything like that. But there was always this air in, and I believe, or I should say around, and I believe inside of that organization that, hey, I might have someone on my staff who's supposed to be here to replace me one day. And
it's like someone always looking over your shoulder a little.
So
you know?
From what I understand, there was kind of that dynamic.
Yeah.
And then when things got a little bit messy, like we talked about, Doug Christie was the developmental coach of Domantas Sabonis. Domantas Sabonis and Mike Brown didn't exactly see eye to eye last season. It became like a line in the sand or a split in the locker room where there was like Team Mike Brown, and on Team Mike Brown were guys like De'Aaron Fox, I believe Keegan Murray, Trey Lyles, and then on Team Doug Christie were Domantas Sabonis. We didn't know it was Team Doug Christie at the time. It was kind of Team other players like Domas and Malik and potentially DeMar DeRozan, some names over Kevin Huerter were kind of on this anti-Mike Brown side, or we don't like Mike Brown side. And Doug kind of got mixed into that group because Doug was on the outs with Mike's coaching staff and was the developmental coach for Domantas Sabonis. So, long story short, just this Game of Thrones drama junior high part of what last season, the chaos and craziness that last season was. And what's funny is this team this year, record-wise, way worse.
Yeah.
Way worse than the team last year, but night and day difference in terms of like drama and internal struggle in the locker room or anything like that.
I'm with you on that. And I think that I keep reiterating the fact that that's the one thing I've really been impressed with is it's at least the ability to keep things in-house.
Yeah.
And who knows what's really going in-house or just doing a great job of not letting it out if there is things going on in-house. But I do give a little credit to Doug Christie for, trying to, in a weird way, I know not everyone's happy, but make it look like everybody is okay with the situation at hand, which is a messy one. But I also get these two are just, look, they're different people. They're different types of coaches. And so there's always a little ego involved when you go head to head. Doug's now an actual head coach in his first full year. So I'm sure, he takes pride in any win he can get against a guy like Mike Brown, who has had a longer career in terms of the coaching side of it.
We've heard Doug's been very clear since he took over as the interim head coach. I don't think it has anything to do with Mike. I don't think it has anything to do with any certain player or person or anything like that. Doug is very much, you're on my side or you're not. Like if you're wearing a Kings jersey, then you're with me. And if you're with me, I'm gonna fight for you, or quite literally fight for you in the case of Dennis Schroeder. But if you're on the other side, like Doug talks about the faceless opponent. He goes, it doesn't matter who's over there. If you're wearing an opposing team's jersey, like you're not my friend.
So he's not trading jerseys after an NFL game.
Well, he might afterwards, because Doug's always about like after the game we're fine, we can be cool. But Doug is very also open, like, and he said this fairly recently, like we can be friends off the court. But Kayla, if you and I are going at each other during a game, and I take issue with what I can't be a friend with you outside of the game while we're going to war on the court. Well, then that's on me. Like that's Doug's thing. Like if you can't be my friend outside of basketball because of how I go at you as a basketball, then you're not my friend. Yeah. Like that's just how Doug's wired. And Doug, I think, is someone who thrives with proving people wrong, thrives with the doubt, the animosity that fuels him in a way, and he's a former athlete. A lot of athletes are like that. And I think the Mike Brown saga and the rumblings and the rumors and the conversations of does Doug deserve this job? Was he handpicked by ownership? Is he way in out of his depth? I don't know how much Doug listens to that. Hopefully he doesn't listen to it too much, but I do believe that fuels him. And in a game where he has an opportunity to defeat the guy that he was underneath or coached under, who then he took over for, I think Doug's gonna get up a little bit more for a game like that. But he gets up for every single game.
Yeah, and that's his motto. Like, he wants his team as well to find that consistency. It doesn't matter what team you're facing, but there is always that little bit of an inner burn when you have a situation where there's, some history there. Mm-hmm. And just imagine, and look, they're not playing good basketball at all right now. We've talked about that the last so many games since that 4-game win streak. They've kind of gone back the other way. But if they find a way somehow to win tonight in New York, like, that will be crazy to think about if you are able to beat Mike Brown head-to-head both times with a very inferior team.
To me, there's only one thing that Doug can't do tonight. Mm-hmm. And I don't think he's going to do it, because as much as I know Doug wants to win every single game, and especially wants to win this game, and has the emotional charge into this matchup because of his relationship with Mike. The one thing Doug can't do is like, hey, I've been doing a good job balancing the rotations and getting these young guys in, but tonight I'm going to go full-blown DeMar, because DeMar played 41 minutes in that win against the New York Knicks.
I remember that.
But since that point, Doug has done a really good job balancing the roster and getting his young guys out. Like, Sabonis is back now. Mm-hmm. Sabonis wasn't there for that Knicks game, so Sabonis will be coming. Will be starting again. The only thing Doug can't do tonight is go back to that. Like, I'm just going heavy 100. Unless the only caveat to this, and even so, I don't really accept this caveat, but I would understand it at least in the moment. If Russ and DeMar and Domas, like, the starters are cooking, like the main veterans are all playing super well, it's like, well, I can't take them out. They're playing this well and playing to the standard, as Doug likes to talk about, then okay, I guess. But you and I also know that the Kings winning a basketball game on the backs of their veterans playing really, really well while the young guys take a back seat, that does nothing for this organization going forward.
No, it doesn't. And at this point, as much as this game might mean individually, to him, and I don't think it's that much bigger than any other game that he wants to win, like you had mentioned, you still have to kind of stick with the plan that you've been sticking with. And that is, like you said, giving those young players just a little bit more minutes. You are not needing to give anybody 40 minutes in terms of one of these veterans.
Oh, you can give Nique. Give it to Nique.
Yeah, give it to Nique, right? I mean, he played a lot in that last
33,
game. So, and that was good to see.
Most that he's played. I'm genuinely, I'm not concerned about it, because I think Doug sees the big picture. And also, if we're being completely honest with you too, what we've seen as of late is, I think, balancing the rotations and getting those young guys in there is arguably giving the Kings a better chance to win than just, like, we love Russell Westbrook and what he's been, but there's the Russell Westbrook experience, right? And if Russ is out there taking 20-plus shots, I'd argue that's not exactly the recipe for winning basketball games. So I think tonight's going to pretty much feel like a normal night. Maybe there's a little extra emotional charge for Doug and them in New York. I think the emotional charge is more going to come from the other side. I think Mike Brown and his team, like, we let our coach down in his return to the team that not just fired him, but fired him in the way that they did. Like,
right.
And
now we're in our house.
Right. We're in the Garden.
Yeah.
Plus, we're a team that's expected to compete for a championship, and the Sacramento Kings are worried about lottery odds. Like, we need to wipe the floor with this team. That was embarrassing. That's not who we are. We're trying to get right. I hope the Knicks don't do to the Kings what they did to the Brooklyn Nets and Jordy Fernandez when they beat them by like 60-something points the other day. I hope it's not that bad. But if you were to tell me, like, we should look up the spread. Kyle, do you mind looking up the spread for tonight's game?
You guys want to guess?
I'm more than, well, okay, let's do it. I'm going to say Knicks -9.5.
I am going to say Knicks 10.5.
It is currently Knicks 14.5.
Yeah, that's what I would think. Yeah, okay. I think the expectation is the Knicks are going to wipe the floor with the Kings tonight, and I think they should.
Did the Kings? What was the update on the Kings' flight plan to New York? Because I know yesterday it was a little bit tough to get out of Detroit. By the way, they're having a huge snowstorm on the East Coast.
Right. From what I understand, I'm just going off of the wonderful Gary Gerald posts Twitter updates, and he posted a picture last night from New York City from his hotel room.
They're in. They got in.
I think they're fine. Okay, yeah. The main issue that they were stuck in Cleveland for a long time. Like, after the Cavaliers game, they were
stuck in Cleveland.
So they kind of got stuck in both areas, kind of. So they were stuck in Cleveland for a really long time. Because of the travel and they couldn't find a plane. So according to G-Man, they were just sitting at the arena, basically, just waiting to find a flight. And then they found a flight. They boarded the plane. They got into Detroit, and they got into their hotel rooms apparently at like 5 o'clock in the morning.
Goodness.
Now, the good news is they didn't play that
Yeah.
day. They had a day off, but still.
So they slept all day.
You slept all day, did probably a light shoot around, a light walk through, and then went back to bed.
Right.
Played in Detroit. Then they stayed the night in Detroit, from what I understand. And then yesterday morning / afternoon or whatever, when they were supposed to leave for New York City, from what I understand from G's tweet, they were just kind of sitting in the plane waiting for clearance to go.
Okay. We've all been there before.
I mean,
de-icing the plane.
Yeah,
none of the
de-icing.
Kings games have been canceled. Like, we saw a lot of cancellations happening, some because of weather, others because of things that are happening in Minnesota. But the Kings have managed to avoid any kind of canceled games so far, and knock on wood that continues. But that's not like their travel situation. It's an inconvenience, but it's not anything that we can
crazy.
bring up in any kind of, the Kings lost by 30 to the Knicks tonight. Well, it's because their airplane was on the ground.
They were
too
sleeping on the tarmac.
long. Although we don't want to see them sleepwalking out there against the Knicks.
By the way, just note that just came in. Zach LaVine out tonight with back soreness, and Malik Monk out tonight with an ankle injury.
So that's a bummer. Well,
and then no Keegan, obviously.
So no Malik. That's interesting. So no Malik and no Zach LaVine.
Whoa.
Which means big opportunity for Keon Ellis. Here's my question, though. Devin Carter?
That's what I was going to just say. We had that huge combo about Devin Carter.
Who's your backup?
God blessing me with this body.
Who's the backup?
Well, I was going to ask, and then I caught myself mid-question because it's like, wait, Dennis Schroeder's still playing. So Schroeder's still the backup point guard.
Yeah, because Westbrook Schroeder.
Yep.
But that opens up a little window for Devin Carter. And what did I say yesterday? Every time we have a conversation about a freaking player that's not getting minutes, the next day there's like that player is playing something. I'm not saying, again, this is just my little fun theory for the show. Okay? That's all I'm
I
saying.
can't wait for
It's
Doug
my
McDermott
fun
to
theory
play.
for the show.
Yeah, see, and you said that, and I think you might be onto something, Kyle.
That was just a joke. That'd be funny.
but
Doug McDermott? Teach me how to Doug.
I feel like it's more likely that Doug McDermott gets run than Devin Carter.
You think?
I think so.
Damn.
So you're thinking. Let's think guard rotation here really quick. Getting in the weeds of this. You've got, Russell and Schroeder are your rotation at your point guard position.
Yep.
Keon's your backup two behind
Nique.
You've got DeMar still out there. So the starting five is the same as it was in Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, you're probably, knowing how physical the Knicks are, you're probably going bigger.
So you've got Precious, Sabonis, Cardwell,
Max.
Mm-hmm.
I think it might be Doug. Unless the Kings want to go.
Return to McDermott.
I think
or 40 minutes for DeRozan.
Oh,
we were just saying no.
well, I guess out of necessity if you have to. But then Doug Christie, not McDermott. Doug Christie has been pretty consistent with this 10-man rotation as of late.
Yeah.
He dipped into 11 technically in Detroit, but gave Devin Carter garbage time minutes. I would rather it be Devin Carter, but it would not shock me at all tonight if it's Doug McDermott that gets the call off the bench to play 10 minutes.
A little more minutes. It's so funny because we keep talking. It's like injury musical chairs, but with the same 4 or 5 players on this team. I'm not joking. Every game, it's like, this guy's back, but this guy's out now. And it's the same freaking guys every single time. And so, the lineups are changing a little, but it's like, we're talking about the same guys. So Keon is going to play.
Keon for sure will play.
Keon will play.
Keon's going to play a
Keon.
decent amount.
So we're going to at least see him a little more before he potentially gets traded.
And is this a showcase for Keon Ellis?
Because it's against the Knicks.
Kyle brought this up, and I think he's absolutely right.
Yeah.
If there's a team that could really use a Keon Ellis, it's probably the New York Knicks. Yeah. And this is funny for a couple of reasons. The connection with Mike Brown, because Mike is the one that gave Keon his first shot. But when Mike was fired, a lot of the negativity around Mike, or the criticism from the Kings fan base, or why Mike deserved to be fired, was because of how he was handling Keon, not playing him enough. I don't know of any animosity whatsoever between Keon and Mike. I don't know if it exists. I'm sure Keon feels a certain type of way and felt a certain type of way at the time, why aren't you playing me? I think I'm doing the right things. Why am I getting blamed for other things that other guys are doing? In theory, I should help your defense. But now that Keon's gone through this season, where a coach that seemingly he should be perfect with in Doug Christie is not playing him, and he's clearly on the outs here in Sacramento, I think Keon Ellis would be thrilled to play for Mike Brown in New York.
I think so too. I think it's sometimes coaches have to give you a learning opportunity, and for Mike Brown, we know how he kind of is as a coach. Like, he's going to be honest with you and tough at times, but he also gave Keon an opportunity. And I think that probably sticks with Keon Ellis. Yeah, was it perfect at times? No, but I do think Keon appreciates him for giving him that initial opportunity to really be something. And then I know he was asked about Mike Brown when he came back here when the Knicks played earlier this season. And he was asked just what, how much you're familiar with, the Knicks. And he said, I'll watch them when there's not a game. And I'm very familiar with the language. A lot of the stuff they do over there is something I'm familiar with. It's similar to what he was doing here. So it is interesting. He's very familiar with Mike Brown.
Yeah, it could be a hit the ground running move for a team that right now is trying to get right and win some basketball games. And you look at the New York Knicks, and one of the biggest issues that they have is just a lack of depth. Like, they're really, I mean, Mitchell Robinson, Deuce McBride are the guys that coming off the bench are the ones that make that impact. And this is a note from Kyle that he put in here. Since January 1st, McBride 30.6 and Robinson 21.8 are the only Knicks bench players averaging more than 18 minutes a game.
Dang.
They have a bunch of guards on this roster. Sound familiar, but Mike Brown doesn't exactly seem to feel good about, from Jordan Clarkson, who's gotten DNP'd recently, Landry Shamet. He went from DNPs to key minutes. It reminds me very much of some of the stuff Mike dealt with here in Sacramento, where he was just he's searching.
Sure.
And Mike's not afraid to look at a guy on the bench who hasn't played for 3 games and go, give me something. Like, get in the game. I need something.
Exactly.
Mike. Here's the thing, Kayla. Mike used to have a reputation in Sacramento of going to subs really quickly and taking timeouts like 30 to 45 seconds into a game because he didn't like what he saw. And he'd go to quick turn. And it just looks like he's searching for reliable options off the bench. Why not go out and get a guy who's not going to cost your organization a lot to get, who you're familiar with, who has been reliable from the past? And look, Keon Ellis has played his best basketball for Mike Brown. Even if Keon and Mike didn't even if Keon wasn't the biggest fan of Mike Brown, which I don't know that specifically, Keon played his best basketball for Mike. It's the same thing with Malik Monk. Malik and Brown didn't see eye to eye. Malik Monk played his best basketball for Mike Brown. So both of those guys, I think, should be on the Knicks' radar, and Keon makes a ton of sense.
I mean, Keon, too, by the way, and just being a complimentary piece there, too, if anything, right? And just having that point-of-attack defender mentality and being able to make Jalen Brunson's job a little bit easier as well.
Just annoy him.
Yeah, just annoy him, right? And so I like it, and I think it makes sense. And why wouldn't Keon not appreciate going to a team that's actually in the mix?
Yeah. Well, I like it. It makes a ton of sense from the Knicks standpoint.
I'm not saying from Sacramento.
But I don't like the packages that make sense to send Keon to New York. We'll talk about a couple that Kyle has put together and what the Kings should or ask for from New York. Plus, in general, like, Scott Perry has inherited a mess, but it's even more messy than we thought, and we're seeing it in real time play out with this trade deadline getting closer and closer. We'll talk about that coming up next on Matt and Kayla.
If you're serious about your golf game, then you need to know about Total Game Fitting at the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Whether it's the TrackMan-powered player performance studio for your best fit clubs, or the cutting-edge technology putter fitting studio, or the free Ballnamic ball fitter and 3D foot scanner, the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop offers you total game fitting from head to toe with equipment and apparel. Find your advantage at the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop with the latest offering of new golf products in Northern California. Fulton Avenue at the Cap City Freeway.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave. I got to tell you, I am so excited to get this decking project started with Trex Decking and Railings. From the first time I stepped foot in the showroom last week, I was so impressed. So many color options, heat-resistant composite deck. What does that mean? That means I don't have to do any maintenance on it whatsoever. They even have a deck designer, so you can go online and see what your dream deck will look like on your house. Just visit Trex, that's Trex.com to get it started. Tell them Carmichael Dave sent you.
Get more for your money at Elk Grove Chevrolet, where value meets style. Purchase a new 2026 Chevrolet Trax for just $299 per month plus tax. The Trax delivers more for less with a sleek design, impressive fuel economy, and tech that keeps you connected. Conveniently located in Elk Grove, just minutes from Sacramento. Visit myelkgrovechevrolet.com today for full details and see why the Trax is such a smart choice.
Hagen Oaks knows you can buy a driver off the shelf anywhere, but Hagen Oaks is the only place where you'll find total game fitting. The Hagen Oaks TrackMan-powered player performance studio fits clubs to your swing. Ping's Ballnamic Ball Fitter finds your optimum golf ball. The putter fitting studio makes you a better putter, and FootJoy's 3D foot scanner finds your correct fit. In fact, Hagen Oaks will fit you from head to toe with equipment and apparel to make you the player you want to be. It's total game fitting, and it's only at the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop, Fulton Avenue at the Cap City Freeway.
Guys, feeling low energy or low drive? It could be low testosterone. At Revive Men's Health, start with a free T-check and consultation. And this month only, qualified patients may receive 25% off TRT. Book now at ReviveMen'sHealth.com. Terms apply, must medically qualify.
You remember me from a show called And Joe? I'm back on the radio, Sacramento. It's Joe Mommy, and when you need your new country fix, join me weekdays from 6A to 10 for the Pat and Cody with Joe show on New Country 105.1 KNCI or on the free KNCI app.
It's Matt George and Kayla Anderson on Sactown Sports 1140.
We knew when Scott Perry took the job that this was a mess, that he was inheriting a mess. And we had a pretty good understanding at the time that the mess was created by the guy who gave Scott Perry the job. And one of the things, Kayla, that I said when I found out that Scott Perry was being hired, I said, whether it's Scott or whoever they brought in needed to negotiate and make sure that there was a full understanding that you need to give me the proper time, patience, and authority to clean this mess up. But I don't think we realized or fully comprehended how bad the short-term mess is. Kayla, 73% of the Sacramento Kings salary cap space is taken up by their top four contracts.
Jeez Louise.
Sabonis, LaVine, DeRozan, and Monk.
It's bad.
So it makes perfect sense that the Kings have been so eager to potentially move on from DeRozan and Monk, especially because in theory, those are the only ones realistically that they can move. Maybe there's interest in Sabonis from Toronto Raptors. Maybe there's interest from Zach LaVine in the Milwaukee Bucks. But it always felt like a pretty low likelihood. But can we shop DeRozan? Can we especially shop Malik Monk just to clear up one of those top four contracts that, again, are taking up 73% of their cap space? According to Bobby Marks, the Kings and the Pacers are the only teams who are projected to be in the lottery with contracts, or at least a contract that's $40 or more million. The Kings have two of them. What's the difference between the Kings and the Pacers? One, Tyrese Halliburton is hurt. Two, the Pacers were in the freaking NBA Finals last year.
Yep.
Like, the Kings and the Pacers are not comparable. The Kings are just in this horrible spot, which forces Scott Perry to fill the rest of his roster with guys that we talked about yesterday that are paid to just sit there. You have 4 roster spots being taken up by guys who don't play. Dario Saric, Devin Carter, Doug McDermott, Drew Eubanks. 4 guys that just don't play, that just sit there and collect a paycheck, and they're fringe depth in the NBA at that. And you're forced to do that because 73% of your space is taken up by your top 4. So you have 4 massive, well, not massive in Malik's case, but you have 4 contracts at the top that are taking up all your space and 4 contracts at the bottom that nobody wants, that are basically useless, that are just placeholders.
That's why you look on the outside looking in, if you're fans from other teams, or even if you're a GM from another team, and you're looking at the Sacramento Kings situation, and you're like, this is an absolute disaster.
Yeah.
Make it make sense. Yeah. You just put out the numbers there. And I know Scott Perry knew somewhat what he was getting into with the current situation. And I'm aware that he did make certain moves of his own, we're probably not at the top of a rooftop shouting positive things about the Schroeder move. But there have been a couple moves that I think have been beneficial for this team that Scott has made. But overall, he was given a pile of crap
yes.
and said,
and
hey,
a broom.
yeah, get rid of this. And it's like elephant crap. So it takes a long time to get it off and out. But I think part of it also has to do with, I don't know how much he really thought this trade deadline in terms of movement would be this bad.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the league continues to wait on, and I know we're going to have the conversation later, the Giannis Antetokounmpo situation.
Right.
And because I think if that would have happened earlier on in the trade deadline, maybe we would have seen some more movement at this point. But now it looks even worse for Scott Perry because we're thinking we're not going to probably see any of those big contracts moves out of Sacramento. At best, we're going to see a Keon Ellis minimal situation with his contract be moved somewhere maybe for like a lower first round pick or something.
You would hope that sounds like maximum value. For
yeah.
him, right. Like, I'm just starting to accept the reality that like the Kings might be just stuck. Like for this year. And coming into this season, I hate the term gap year.
Yeah.
I hate that term. But when we're analyzing the history of the Sacramento Kings season by season 5 years from now, the 2025-2026 season will be talked about one of two ways. Either one, just this lost year where these big names who were all-stars 5 to 6 years before then were on the roster and just got records every night and whoop-de-freaking-do, who cares?
Yeah.
Or it's the year that the Sacramento Kings started the rebuild, or I guess the third one is it's the year that the Sacramento Kings won the draft lottery or got a high draft pick that they then got right. Right. That's what is going to determine what this year ends up being. But like if I'm going to be frustrated with Scott Perry. I'm going to be frustrated with everybody if the trade deadline passes and Keon Ellis is the only move that the Sacramento Kings make, or it's just these fringe moves. But Kayla, that is looking like the reality, and I think Kings fans need to start accepting that.
Man, it is tough to think about because we have been so patient, and fans have been so patient in terms of, okay, maybe you're just waiting till the end, like we're hearing a little bit of noise here and there, but then it's like you go backwards and we're like, nah, that's not, we're hearing, no, that's not really probably realistic with DeMar DeRozan, because I think he was the bigger hope that would probably be attractive somewhere, him as a player, I should say.
Yeah.
But now we're just kind of hearing nobody really wants DeMar DeRozan. And I don't know the reasoning for that. I still wish I would know something about why no teams are interested. But I just think the reality is it is going to be a small move. And that is going to be tough because we are not going to be able to move forward in the rebuild process a little bit faster than we would have liked to. Because now it's just going to be like, oh, well, we got to wait for the draft. Yeah. And that's pretty much, that's what we're doing at this point.
73% of your cap space is taken up by players that nobody wants.
That's ridiculous.
And I think that is unfair to an extent because it suggests that like Malik and DeRozan have no value, or even Domantas Sabonis, he has no value. But it's the circumstances.
Yeah.
It's the circumstances of their contracts. It's the circumstances of where the league's at with the apron system. It's a bad time to have bad contracts, and the Kings have an abundance of them. Mm-hmm. And let's say 3 out of those 4 contracts, your ownership is directly responsible for. Zach LaVine is here because of ownership. Malik Monk got his extension because of ownership, although I do believe Monty McNair wanted Malik Monk to stick around. And like I'll exclude Domantas Sabonis from it because Sabonis was Monty McNair's trade. I believe that was fully Monty McNair's decision to trade away Tyrese Halliburton. Extending Domantas Sabonis was Monty McNair's decision, and I think it was a no-brainer at the time, or they felt like they had to do it at the time. So I'll exclude Domantas Sabonis from it. But we now know, because it was put out there very clearly by Anthony Slater from ESPN, that DeMar DeRozan was completely ownership's decision. So 3/4 of this financial bind that you are in that is likely going to prevent you from starting the rebuild now and is going to turn this year into just bleh, is because of ownership decisions that, again, Scott Perry has to inherit and has to clean up. Now, I do believe, because I've not been told any reason otherwise, that Perry and ownership are on the same page. Perry and Vivek are on the same page. I've been told firsthand Vivek has taken a significant step back. I think that's a great thing.
You have to.
But we're all impatient. The organization, from a content standpoint, we're begging for a trade just to give us something to talk about so I don't have to talk about Kuminga and like the
or
maybe.
hypothetical trades.
Exactly. The entire fan base is impatient. I'm sure Scott Perry is impatient. I guarantee you Scott Perry's working his ass off to try and get a deal done.
Yes.
But you have negative value assets across the board that not only you want to move on from, but you need to in order to inherit any kind of contracts or any kind of players that you want to bring back in.
Yeah. Because
you're just stuck.
You are. It's the worst case scenario. And I know people don't want to hear that, but it is. It's the trade market. It's nothing's going on. It's a combo of that in terms of the roster here. It's like you mentioned, the big contracts that really you're just waiting on every single one of those guys to eventually not be here.
Mm-hmm.
It's trying to still find time to give enough, minutes to the youth to have them develop, but also having to just have those veterans play. And like you mentioned, you would like to see something where you could at least bring in some younger players in a trade or just know that you have some value with picks coming up. And none of that can be done unless something is moved and something bigger is moved.
Yeah. Outside of your draft picks, which we know Scott Perry, the draft picks are the most valuable thing that the Sacramento Kings have. That's why Scott's not going to give them up to get rid of a contract. He's not going to do it. Outside of those, you have two positive value assets on this roster, if we're being brutally honest. One of them is Keegan Murray, who you just gave a payday to, and he's going to start making more money beginning next year.
There's another contract.
So if you're going to trade Murray away, you have to probably sell low on him, which you should not ever do. So that's why we're not hearing Keegan Murray being discussed.
No.
The other is Keon Ellis, who's paid $2.3 million.
That's like chump change in the NBA.
The good news is you can essentially, this is such a horrible term, but you can essentially sell him for a pick because you don't have to take a bunch of salary back. But again, that doesn't move the needle here in Sacramento. If anything, it's like, yay, we got a first rounder. Hopefully that turns into something good. Now we get to watch Keon Ellis be effective for the New York Knicks or somebody else, a playoff team. It's just an ugly, ugly spot to be in. I'm hoping that action starts to pick up in the final week and some change before the deadline, and maybe trade deadline day, a Giannis move does happen, and that kicks the hornet's nest, and now all of a sudden the dam is burst and there's a frenzy.
It's like, go to bed and say your prayers.
Yeah. I'm hoping that can be the case and Perry can work his way in somehow. Mm-hmm. But from the Kuminga talks, which feel basically dead at this point or just are very muted and hushed because of the stubbornness of the Warriors, to the negative value assets that the Sacramento Kings have, Get used to seeing this roster because I don't think it's going anywhere for at least this season.
Woof.
Well, Kayla, let's cheer ourselves up by switching gears to the NFL. The coaching carousel continues. The Buffalo Bills have their guy. The Pittsburgh Steelers have their guy. And the Cleveland Browns, there's been comparisons between the Browns and the Kings. Well, I understand them because of what's happening with the Cleveland Browns. We'll talk about it coming up next on Matt and Kayla.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Rain on game day doesn't faze Dave. He's already got his poncho. Just needs to do something about those wipers. So Dave heads to AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone,
where a friendly AutoZoner helps him get premium quiet wipers and some hand warmers.
You're all set.
Now, if only his team can handle the elements as well as his new wipers. Get wipers, glass cleaner, and more with no hassles, just help at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
This year's tax changes. Better not get caught snoozing. Miss one deduction, lose thousands. Not amusing.
Big tax changes can mean bigger refunds at Jackson Hewitt. And right now, get $100 just to try us.
Don't worry, tax filers. If money is tight, get $100 from Jackson Hewitt, so you'll sleep better at night.
Limited time offer for new clients. Participating locations only. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
Big savings are back at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Looking to own or lease? We have options for everyone. Plus, lower interest rates at Folsom Lake Honda make for lower payments. It's no wonder Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Get an instant cash offer for your trade at FolsomLakeHonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not.
Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Come check out Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room with the most variety of table games in the region in a safe and friendly environment. Plenty of well-lit parking available, conveniently located in downtown Sacramento. And remember, Capital Casino has the best food, the best service, and the best action. 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento. For more information, log on to capital-casino.com and please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/deal for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
Celebrate the new year in style with a new Honda from Stockton Honda. Whether you're shopping new or pre-owned, Stockton Honda has the selection and savings. With new Hondas in stock and ready to go, now is the time to save on your favorite Honda in person or online. CR-V, HR-V, Pilot, Accord, Civic, and Ridgeline. It's a new year with endless possibilities. Get the deals that make it easy to say yes. Upgrade and save today at Stockton Honda.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
Join Sactown Sports Downtown before every Kings game and pick up an In-Shape Fitness Kings Rally towel while supplies last. If you walk, lift, stretch, or sweat, you belong. Start the year strong and join today at InShape.com.
Matt and Kayla on Sactown Sports 1140.
The Buffalo Bills have their man, and he's a familiar face in Buffalo. Joe Brady, who is the offensive coordinator, so someone who's very familiar with Josh Allen, and we know Josh was very involved in this decision. Joe Brady is the head coach, or will be the head coach of the Buffalo Bills going forward. It makes a lot of sense in terms of what we just talked about, the familiarity. The question that I have, Kayla, that maybe you have an answer for, maybe you don't. How is he going to be different, though, from McDermott, who was very good, but never got the Bills to the Super Bowl, never got them over that line, right? Is this a different enough change or big enough change to hopefully impact what the Bills are trying to impact?
It's a great question, Matt, because I think one thing I've learned in the NFL is there is a lot of loyalty and a lot of loyalty with coaches. And you see it, right? And you see it probably in the NBA when coaches bring their assistants. In the NFL, it's a bigger, amount of assistants and coordinators that are on the roster. But it is something where a lot of coaches are stubborn in the way that they will not make moves, or it's going to be a certain person. Yeah. And I get part of that. But sometimes you get so stuck in your ways that you do not see change in terms of what's happening on the field. I think in a way that's how it was for Doug McDermott. I had heard rumblings when I covered the Titans that he was a little bit hard to work with in terms of that. Like,
really?
There wasn't always an open mind with things. I think he's kind of a guy like, honestly, Mike Vrabel.
Okay.
Mike Vrabel was kind of like that in Tennessee. As great of a coach as he wasn't making enough coaching changes around him that satisfied people at the time. Like now it's come back to bite them in the butt.
Like not very adaptable?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like who I have is who I have and I'm not changing. Like the offensive line coach, horrible, would not move on from him.
Got it.
The line, was really bad at the end of his tenure there. I heard the same things about Doug McDermott in a way, that he has a little bit of stubbornness to him. He is a defensive-minded guy, and clearly the defense was the problem.
You just called him Doug McDermott.
Doug McDermott. This is what I'm doing. This whole week, I'm just making
Everyone's Doug something.
everybody. I'm mixing everyone's names.
There's too many Dougs that we're talking about
Sean.
on this show. Sean McDermott. Not
Yes.
Doug. I guarantee you I'm
Sean.
going to do that at least 5 times over the course of
I'm
the
just-
next year
Why
talking
not?
about the Bills.
You can call me Kayla George, whatever. So
George
your wife
Anderson.
would not be happy with that.
You don't want that. You don't want that name.
But
My
it-
wife hasn't even taken it. She
But she's not taking
kept
it?
hers.
Oh, she did.
She's like,
Okay.
no.
She's not taking that. But my point is I think this is good to have Joe Brady because the offense has worked for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
Now Joe can leave it up to whoever he hires as a DC.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be smart hire to kind of take control of what's going to happen on the defensive side of the ball. He'll overlook the whole thing in terms of Joe Brady, but he kind of already has in mind what they want for the offense. It's the defense that he needs to make the right hire.
This late in the game, too, in terms of the coaching search, sometimes the value of a candidate is determined by the interest. And Joe had been interviewing with everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody. Like, I think like a third of the candidacies available he had interviewed for at one point in time, including many that had already been closed. The Raiders were one of them. And we're going to have Q Myers, the host of Locked On Raiders and from ESPN Radio in Las Vegas at 11:05. So coming up here in 10 or so minutes, 15 minutes, to talk about the Raiders coaching search, that they just lost another candidate in Joe Brady. But bringing this back to the Bills have seen this guy who is their offensive coordinator, who built his name with McDermott and with Josh Allen. Sometimes, hey, I know it's not a big, sexy new name that comes out of left field that's going to revitalize the Buffalo Bills organization. He's the one to take them across the finish line. But someone who's familiar and someone who Josh trusts.
That's a big part.
That might be just what's needed to rally the troops to make one more push next year. Because it's not like, maybe in a couple of years the Bills will be there. It's next year they got to get in.
Yeah, and he's familiar with the whole organization. And that's sometimes the biggest thing. He's already comfortable kind of where he is and how they operate. Now he makes a defensive coordinator hire. The defensive coordinator brings in his guys. And I think you could start to maybe refresh the situation just a little bit to be more competitive.
Rick, I see you on hold. I'll get to you in just a second. Wanted to talk about the Cleveland Browns, though, because it's very loosely, hilariously. I mean, I don't want to, but it's very loosely Kings related. This information came out, was this yesterday or early this morning?
Yesterday.
I think it was at like midnight Cleveland time yesterday.
Which, honestly, that's the right time to put stuff out. So Browns owner Jimmy Haslam is not allowing candidates who have to go through this like essay personality test process already to hire their own defensive coordinator, because Jim Schwartz, the defensive coordinator there, like the Browns apparently like him a lot and just want to keep him. Well, apparently he's gaining momentum to be the head coach because other candidates are being turned off because they can't even hire their own defensive coordinator. If you want Jim Schwartz, then just make him the freaking head coach. Like, how can you? And this is what's crazy about the Browns. Like, the Browns, you have been one of the biggest jokes of an organization, not just in the NFL, but in professional sports, period. Does it sound familiar to the Sacramento Kings? That's because it is. Stop trying to do it your way and do it different from everybody else and fancy schmancy, this test and this coach and blah, blah, blah. You are the epitome of failure. Stop trying to do it your way, because your way continues to not work. Do it by the book. Yeah. It's what I want the Kings to do, and it's what the Browns need to do, and they're going to continue to brown it up. Just hire Jim Schwartz then, if that's who you want.
Stink it up. Here's the thing. The Haslams are ownership group, because there's many of them, that they're involved in a lot of sporting, teams.
Sure.
And so they feel we have knowledge about how to build a team, what a team should look like. They're forgetting, and sometimes these owners forget, they are the owner. Yes, you can have things, bits and pieces, advice here and there, but overall, your job is to hire the right GM and them to hire the right coach. It's like a stepping stone of where the hierarchy is. And then you get out of the way.
Yes.
And unfortunately, there's some owners like the Haslams that feel they have all the say. And this is a situation that's way overboard. This should never be the case where he's dictating what a coach can and can't do. Now, I wonder why all these guys, these young offensive-minded guys, are taking their name out of the hat in Cleveland because they don't want to be like threatened by the owner to do this way. If, like you said, if they want to hire Schwartz, who I think is a defensive coach at that, a defensive coordinator, a great defensive coordinator, don't think he's a head coach. I know he has been in his past. Don't think he's a head coach now. Then do it. Then screw up another 5 years of your organization.
Sure.
It's mind-blowing.
I don't understand. I know this is a common problem in sports. And look, shocking, I've never run a multi-billion-dollar business or been worth that much money, so I don't know what it takes to get there or anything like that, so I'm not going to pretend to put myself in that mindset. But I do have something called common sense. And when you continue to be to be the problem over and over and over and over again, and your organization is just known for consistently being a failure, when do you realize that?
Look in the mirror.
When do you look in the mirror and go, "Oh, wait a minute, I'm the most consistent thing here. Like I am part of the problem." Who do these, again, wealthy, successful business people? Why do you surround yourself with a bunch of yes men who don't tell you what you need to be told, which is get out of the freaking way?
Or the children of wealthy, successful business people.
And that's even worse, right? And look, I'm not naive to the way the world works. We hear about all these. I'm blanking on the word, but like these children are groomed to take over. Like they didn't have to work a day in their life, and they just get to own a professional sports franchise because of nepotism, right? Daddy's money and stuff like that. Look, I'm aware of the way the world works. Complaining about it does nothing. I'm talking about it from an athletic standpoint.
Yeah.
You have run an organization terribly for years upon years upon years upon years. You are the most consistent problem.
You're the problem.
So get out the freaking way. You don't have to sell the team. You can still make all the money and sit in your booth and watch and hopefully have success, and then you can be hailed as the owner of the Super Bowl champions one day. Or in the case of Vivek Ranadive, you can be hailed as the owner that finally brought a title to Sacramento. You can get there, but step one is getting the hell out the way. And I don't know how organizations like the Kings, who have been terrible forever, and the Browns, who continue to be terrible forever, how they don't see this.
But it's more than you think, you guys. It's more than you think. It's more than, that's why we only see so many certain good organizations that have more constant success, at least in the NFL, right? I mean, we see in the NBA too, but it's because there's so many of these owners.
Yeah.
Also, sometimes it's willful. Like Jerry Jones is like, I want to win, but not if I can't be the general manager doing it.
He's the prime example.
Yeah.
But it's gone on for generations.
And what have the Cowboys won?
Nothing
Exactly.
for a long time.
But sometimes these people don't care about winning. It's more so, I don't care about winning unless I get to be the one who wins.
Well, as long as they're collecting their paycheck, I guess good for them. Rick, before we wrap up this first hour, you're joining the Matt and Kayla Show. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. Hey, I just want to say, as a Kings fan, I think the frustrating thing is you have the team buy into this defense concept during the summer, and then it's kind of broke down, and there's no update on how that's going, although I looked, and the stats are down as far as, like, defensive rebounds and things like that. And I think we're at a point that no one knows what direction they're going. It's kind of like, well, are we getting there? And nobody knows. The players don't know, and it's, the strategy, listening to you guys also, it's like, well, who's going to be available? So there's no direction. And I think this trade deadline is going to be bad for everybody. We're basically going to have to start looking at the fact they may have to buy out contracts. I mean, that may be the only way that they get out and get some room. And I just don't see a lot of buzz, period, for any teams except for Giannis. As far as moving people, I thought the trade deadline would be big, especially for the Kings, moving some of their players. And, boy, it's turning out, it looks like a lot of teams are talking about this summer now.
Yeah.
So, if Vivek just stays out of the way, and by the way, you guys' terminology of this being a gap year, that's what it is right now, because I don't want to say no one's held accountable, but people are being given that wiggle room. And until they can get rid of some players it's really, really hard to see what kind of progress the teams are making.
Rick, fantastic call. Thank you so much for tuning in. Rick, spot on. And the reality is this. I know it's an overused analogy, but it's true. You can't start to build something until you fix and reestablish the foundation. And right now, Scott can't even get to the foundation to pour new concrete because he has to take rotted pieces of the old house. There are players upon the foundation that he needs to rebuild that he can't get to the foundation without demolishing them, demolishing this roster the way it is.
Yep.
And he can't get the right equipment to demolish it because nobody in the trade market really wants any of these pieces because they're too expensive. It's just a mess. It's a mess. And we'll continue to talk about that when we get into the 12 o'clock hour, the lunch break segment, where you can be like Rick and call in 916-339-1140 and be part of the conversation there. We'll talk about Kings rookies and G League players being snubbed from the NBA Rising Stars game. There's been a quote-unquote update on Jonathan Kuminga. I don't think he's going anywhere at this point. I think we should all just accept it. That's all coming. But next, Q Myers from the Locked On Raiders podcast, ESPN Las Vegas Radio. He joins us to talk about the Raiders coaching search. That's still a vacancy. And Fernando Mendoza. It's coming up next.
What's up? We're talking to my friend Chad Hoblet of Hoblet Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Chad, tell everybody what's happening for the Start Something New sales event.
Kick off the new year exploring all California has to offer when you save up to $9,000 off MSRP on the new 2026 Jeep Wrangler Willys. This modern blend of nostalgia and military-inspired styling, coupled with enhanced off-road capability, is the epitome of what Jeep has always been.
It's great seeing this modern take on everything that has made a Jeep a Jeep.
I love how they're celebrating their Jeep history, and you can't miss the Jeep DNA everywhere you look. Whatever you're looking for, Hoblet is the place to go. From new Jeep Willys to hundreds of certified pre-owned vehicles at the Hoblet Certified Pre-Owned Supercenter, with over 100 vehicles under $30,000.
Search, select, and save through their whole inventory at HobletDodge.com. Unbeatable prices, unbeatable selection. Nobody beats Hoblet, period.
9,000 total net savings on select new 2026 Jeep Wrangler Willys after 4,500 factory rebates and 4,500 dealer discounts. Rebates include 3,500 select inventory cash on select inventory, 1,000 conquest bonus cash for eligible non-SFS owners or lessees. 5% savings. See dealer for details.
If you owe back taxes, listen carefully to rule number 1. Never go up against the IRS alone. They're cracking down, freezing bank accounts, garnishing paychecks, canceling passports. Even your home or business could be at risk. But here's what they don't tell you. The IRS has powerful tax relief programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. That's why smart people call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. Nobody knows these programs like the experts at Optima. Their team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $2 billion in tax debt for people just like you. The IRS is not stopping, so don't wait, and don't take them on alone. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima today for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Hagen Oaks knows you can buy a driver off the shelf anywhere, but Hagen Oaks is the only place where you'll find total game fitting. The Hagen Oaks TrackMan-powered player performance studio fits clubs to your swing. Ping's Ballnamic Ball Fitter finds your optimum golf ball. The putter fitting studio makes you a better putter, and FootJoy's 3D foot scanner finds your correct fit. In fact, Hagen Oaks will fit you from head to toe with equipment and apparel to make you the player you want to be. It's total game fitting, and it's only at the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop, Fulton Avenue at the Cap City Freeway.
Country in the Park is back. May 8th and 9th at Cal Expo. Miranda Lambert, John Party, Chris Young, Turnpike Troubadours, Dylan Scott, and more. Line dancing live DJs, Mechanical Bulls, huge festival area, and food trucks. Tickets start at only $68. Country in the Park, May 8th and 9th at Cal Expo with Hoblet Chrysler, Dodge Jeep and Ram Center, and Fairfield in Cal Expo. More info at CITBfest.com.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave. I got to tell you, I am so excited to get this decking project started with Trex Decking and Railings. From the first time I stepped foot in the showroom last week, I was so impressed. So many color options, heat-resistant composite deck. What does that mean? That means I don't have to do any maintenance on it whatsoever. They even have a deck designer, so you can go online and see what your dream deck will look like on your house. Just visit Trex, that's Trex.com to get it started. Tell them Carmichael Dave sent you.
Tune in every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday for the Toyota Tahoe Report with Johnny Mosley and me, Elena, bringing you the latest weather conditions up at Tahoe. Brought to you by your local Toyota dealers, Toyota. Let's go places.
KHTK HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sactown Sports 1140. It's Matt George and Kayla Anderson on Sactown Sports 1140.
You know, it's hard not to be cynical in jobs like this. Like, it's funny enough, in media, just in general, you find yourself leaning more towards cynicism. And you and I both come, Kayla Anderson, Matt George, both come from news, television backgrounds, too, where negativity sells isn't just a cliche. Like, it is what it is. It's especially when talking about your favorite teams, though, and in my case, the Sacramento Kings, there is no joy in being cynical at all. But the realities of the situation, we'll dive into this conversation more today. We talked about it a lot in the first hour. We'll get into it more at noon. Is that the Sacramento Kings are big time stuck with a lot of the contracts that they have, and with this trade deadline coming up, and they've just been in a mess as an organization for a long time that they briefly seemed to be working their way out of, and then they fell right back down into the pit. And I'm all too familiar with that as a Las Vegas Raiders fan, as is our guest right now, Q Myers from the Locked On Raiders podcast, ESPN Radio in Las Vegas. My guy Q, it's good to have you on the show, my friend. How's everything over there in Vegas, and how ready are you not just to get the Super Bowl over with, but to get to draft time?
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on the show. Congratulations on the show, first of all, man. It's always great to be on with you and catching up with you. And, yeah, man, I'm excited for Super Bowl Radio Row. I'm excited for the draft. I'm excited for the Raiders to find their head coach because, well, there's only a couple teams left that still don't have a head coach. So, yeah, man, it's exciting times here. The offseason has actually been a lot more exciting than the regular season was, as you know.
I think that we're going to feel that exact same thing with the Sacramento Kings very shortly. But Kayla and I were just talking, Q, about Joe Brady being hired as the head coach of the Buffalo Bills. He's staying in Buffalo. I know Joe Brady was one of the guys that was interviewing and in the mix for the Raiders job. What's your thought on the Raiders missing out on him? How have you heard about how much of like a top candidate that he was in their eyes, and who are they zeroing in on, if anybody?
Man, that's a great question. And for me, like Joe Brady and even Brian Daboll, to me, were more of offensive coordinator candidates than head coach candidates. Just my opinion, right? They could have been legit head coach candidates. And Daboll, I know he's still part of the mix, and he's going to be the Titans OC if he doesn't get the Raiders head coaching job. But to me, those guys never felt like real, true head coach candidates. So I'm looking at Clint Kubiak, who's, the offensive coordinator there in Seattle, who's doing some really good things. We saw him over the weekend. Looked like he was in his offensive coordinator bag, just the way that he was designing that offense for Seattle, punching their ticket to the Super Bowl. And then Davis Webb, right, the passing game coordinator there in Denver. And he's very young. He doesn't have a whole lot of experience. He's been a guy that's always known he's wanted to be a coach. But, I mean, he's, like I said, 30. He's young, so he doesn't have the skins on the wall when it comes to being that guy. But at the same time, I feel like this is the opportunity that the Raiders may have to hire him a little bit early, as opposed to him all of a sudden being a name that's a little bit hotter, and then other teams are out there trying to compete for him. And I'm not trying to put him in the same category as Sean McVay, but that's what the Rams did with Sean McVay 9 years ago. They hired him before he was necessarily ready, and they knew that if they didn't hire him then, they weren't going to get him the next year. And so it worked out really well for them. Again, different category. He's not quite who Sean McVay was at that stage of the game, but that's kind of the same theory and thinking that I feel like the Raiders are doing in this coaching search right now.
Q Myers from Locked On Raiders and ESPN Las Vegas joining us on the Matt and Kayla Show. Yeah, we have heard this name, Q, come up in Davis Webb. And I think for people who don't follow the NFL intently, they might not know the name. Is it more so, Q, just, and you mentioned a little bit of it, but just because they're so badly needing to set the tone with the quarterback that they eventually hire there in Las Vegas, that they want to go specifically with a guy that's worked so much with QBs?
Yeah, I think so. I think that makes all the sense in the world. You know, they had Pete Carroll last, who's a defensive-minded head coach. I think they really want to go young and offensive-minded with the opportunity to help grow and groom Fernando Mendoza if and when they make him the number 1 overall pick, which we're all assuming that they're going to do. And, you know, it's an opportunity for this organization to grow. Like, I don't think any of us have any thinking that they're one player away from all of a sudden being in the Super Bowl next year. Like, I don't see them as that team. I don't see them as a team that is even going to be fighting for the playoffs next year. You know, I think it's a slow build, and I think the Raiders realize that. That's what GM John Spytek was talking about when he said that I don't expect this to be an overnight success. I expect this to be a build. And so if you get a younger coach like a Davis Webb, you give him a 5-6 year deal, you allow him to let this thing grow and grow with the quarterback. You have some nice things around the quarterback already in Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty and Colton Miller on the offensive line and JPJ. But, you know, what else do you need? And so you have a chance. You have $100 million in salary cap space. You can put together an offensive line. You can put some weapons around them, but you have to have patience as an organization to allow this to build, and you have to have someone who can develop. And Davis Webb can develop. He's helped Bo Nix a lot in Denver. And look, when Sean Payton interviews him, and then he starts to head back to the airport, and Sean Payton sends a car and is like, no, go get him before he hits the airport. We don't want him talking to anybody else. I think that goes a long ways for what this guy means to at least the Denver organization, what Sean Payton saw in him.
Q, it's funny, while the New England Patriots are back in the Super Bowl and getting ready to play at Levi Stadium, for Raider Nation, it's in Tom Brady we trust. How involved in your, is it really just this is the Tom Brady era, this is Tom Brady's time, that he firmly is going to be the decision maker, the one influencing these final decisions? And how should Raider Nation, I guess, feel about that, knowing the name Tom Brady, but not the executive Tom Brady?
Well, see, that's the thing. Like, nobody knows what he could bring to the table as an executive, you know, and everyone keeps, and I mean, this is national people, all kind of different people are saying, trust Tom Brady. He's going to make it. He's the greatest of all time. He's going to figure it out. I was like, what makes you say that? You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand where that comes from, that he's going to figure things out when he's never done it. Look, I'm from the era that Michael Jeffrey Jordan was the greatest basketball player to ever get play, right? And we can have the argument all day. That's fine. I don't care. The point is that he was a terrible owner. He was a terrible talent evaluator. He couldn't put together a basketball team to save his life, but he could jump out the gym. So you know what I mean? So I don't know, just because you were the greatest of all time means that you can do it. And on top of that, guys, he has a Fox job that he's doing. He's calling the games. He's on the call for the championship game while interviews are being taken place for the head coach. So how involved is he if he's there in Seattle while here in Vegas there's interviews going on? And I've used this analogy, and some people understand it, some don't. You can't be a weekend dad. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think in this position you can pick up little Johnny on Saturday, take him to pizza and a movie, and then drop him off on Sunday night, and then, hey, Mom, all right, you deal with them all week throughout the week. Like, that doesn't work. You know, I think you have to be always present. You have to be there and let it be known what your role is. And I've heard through the grapevine that some of the candidates that have interviewed for this job still don't know who's in charge in the building, and I think that that's a problem.
Yeah, that's a great point. Q Myers joining us of the Locked On Raiders podcast. Q, let's go back to the offensive line, because clearly you've got to start building for Fernando Mendoza. And I know there was a lot of talk about the line last year. Was it not coached properly? Obviously, Brendan Carroll, Pete's son, was coaching it. A lot of people not happy with what he did. How fixable, or what is, I guess, the timeline to fix the line?
I think that's got to be the number one priority when they hit free agency. I mean, honestly, Colton Miller he's solid at the left tackle position. He's getting a little bit older, so at some point you have to start planning for the future when it comes to him. You have Caleb Rogers, who they drafted last year, and Charles Grant as well. They haven't defined what their role is going to be, but I think that they could be part of the solution. Jackson Powers-Johnson has to stay healthy, and he hasn't proven to do that even going back to college, so there's questions there. And I think that they need to go into free agency and get at least 2 guys, maybe 3 guys on that offensive line. But see, that's the beauty of it. I've heard all these people tell me, well, they can't get a quarterback right now because they don't have an offensive line. And I was like, you do realize the draft's not till April. Yeah. You do realize that free agency is in March. They can go address that. They can spend some of that $100 million that they have in salary cap space and go and try to get their offensive line and have it in place before Fernando Mendoza is even drafted. So as much as it looks like a problem and that they have to do a lot of heavy lifting and figure things out to put Mendoza in a better position, it can be done. Again, I'm not saying that they're going to be a Super Bowl team if they go and get that done, but it's part of the solution and part of the building process. So I think it can be done, but they just have to prioritize that offensive line as soon as free agency hits.
Q, this Raiders fan can't go anywhere and have a conversation about the number 1 pick without some jerk bringing up Jamarcus Russell or anything like that. And I know that's the looming shadow that we can never escape. We believe that Fernando Mendoza is the furthest thing from that. But there is that feeling, and I'm sure you felt this or dealt with this too. Like, how are the Raiders going to Raider this up? The Raiders can't possibly Raider this up, right? Is there any potential scenario where Fernando Mendoza is not walking across that stage wearing a Raiders hat, whether it's a trade or they decide to throw a curveball and draft somebody else? Like, the Raiders can't possibly Raider this up. It's Mendoza, and don't overthink it, right?
That's how I think. I feel like that it's definitely that. Now, I've had people have hit me with the argument that, well, what if some team offers 3 or 4 first-round picks like the Jets? I don't honestly think that's realistic. I really don't. I don't think that a team that's sitting at the number 2 spot is going to give up all those assets. Now, if they were to offer 3 first-round picks or 4 first-round picks, whatever, they have 5 in the next couple of years, then, I mean, you have to think about it. You have to decide what you're going to do. And if Fernando Mendoza is the guy that you're in love with so much that you're willing to pass on all that draft capital. But I'm with you. I think you keep it simple, stupid, and you just draft Mendoza and move from there. Right? That's just what I think. But we all know it's only January. There's going to be so much conversation back and forth until the draft at the end of April about why they shouldn't do this, why they should pass on him. They're going to go through the combine, the underwear Olympics, and you know how that is. They're going to be telling everything that he can't do and he can do, and well, he's not that great, and I would have him in the 3rd round. I mean, those conversations are already being had, so there's going to be a lot of debate back and forth. But I'm with you 100%, man. Fernando Mendoza makes all the sense in the world. They haven't had an opportunity to get a real franchise quarterback since they sat Derek Carr down without a plan on how to replace him. And so now's your opportunity. You just had a 3-win season. It was awful. Reward yourself for it and go get your quarterback. Don't overthink it and just move forward.
Locked On Raiders and ESPN Las Vegas' own Q Myers joining us. You know, you talked about the face of the franchise, and hopefully that can be Fernando Mendoza moving forward, because really in the last few years, it's been a guy like Max Crosby, right? When we think of the Raiders, we talk about Max Crosby. I guess, how great has it been to have such a guy that is prideful and he is true and tried to the silver and black?
Yeah, Max is great. Love everything about him, especially his work ethic, the way that he continues to show up and show out. And, we saw the end of the season where he was angry because he was sat down. That just shows that he wants to play. And I've always said it, that I'd rather have a guy that I have to, try to reel him in as opposed to a guy that I got to push to be better, right? I mean, it's much easier to say, hey, man, slow it on down a little bit, as opposed to, hey, man, I need some more. Max, a former 4th-round pick, a guy that we all saw on Hard Knocks that, broke his hand in a preseason game, was like, oh, my gosh, I'm going to get cut, wrap my hand back up, let me get into the field, get back out there, a guy that's gone through trials and tribulations off the field, the whole rehab and now as a father. And I just love what his story is and what he's brought to the table. And, oh, by the way, he's one of the better players across the National Football League, so that helps as well. But, yeah, I mean, if the Raiders could have 2 guys, have a guy on defense in Max Crosby and a guy on offense at the quarterback position and Fernando Mendoza that Raider Nation could get behind, that's only going to help out the fan base in a major way and help out Allegiant Stadium in a major way as well. So you don't see as many off-brand jerseys, red Chiefs jerseys, orange Bronco jerseys, or whatever team is coming into the building. You'll see a bunch of Mendoza and Crosby jerseys, and I'm here for that.
Q Myers is the host of the Locked On Raiders podcast and a radio host to ESPN Las Vegas Radio. And Q, I know you're not just a Raider guy, you're a football guy. So what do you think of this? It's been a crazy season. I'm not going to lie to you. I was celebrating a little bit that the Denver Broncos didn't make it to the Super Bowl. I'm not even going to front. But what do you make of this Patriots-Seahawks Super Bowl matchup at Levi Stadium here in the Bay, the former home of the Raiders? Not exactly, but you know what I mean. What do you make of this matchup?
Well, I look at Seattle, and that defense is just incredible. I like the fact that it's a rematch to, the Super Bowl that was when they weren't smart enough to hand the ball to Marshawn Lynch off at the 1-yard line. So I'm happy for them for that. I'm impressed by Seattle, 2 years with Coach McDonald, and they're already in the Super Bowl. First year with Sam Darnold. And I got to give the Patriots props, too. I mean, the first year with Mike Vrabel and Josh McDaniels as OC, Second year with Drake May, boom, they're in the Super Bowl. So, again, it gives hope to, I think, other franchises that if you make a bunch of right decisions, you can get things turned around. But I think that Seattle defense is just too much. They might have already played their toughest game this year in the Rams 3 times, right, as opposed to this Patriots team. I think that they're going to overwhelm Drake May with their defense, and that's going to be the key to Seattle securing the victory. So I'm looking at the Seahawks to win the Super Bowl. I'm excited to see how it all plays out. I'm sure it's going to make some twists and turns along the way, but I'll tell you what, man, I'll be glad to be back in the Bay. That's my home, and so we'll be there for Radio Row all week long and leading up to it. And I know that the game's not going to be played necessarily in the Bay. I mean, Santa Clara, whatever, call it what you want, but it's all good, man. Just to have an opportunity to be back in the Bay Area is going to be a lot of fun.
Hey, Q, we're seeing a situation, and we've seen it with a couple quarterbacks resurrect their careers lately. And there's so much pressure on these young NFL quarterbacks to get it right away. The reality is a lot of them aren't going to do that right away. They have to have pieces that surround them that can help that. Sam Darnold's journey has been pretty incredible, and he's kind of resurrected his career. In saying that, I think how important is it for the league to start realizing we can't just give up on these QBs after 2 years. Rather, we've got to surround them with better parts.
Yeah, no, I think that's the biggest key for sure. And I think that even goes back to the Raiders and what they're about to do with Fernando Mendoza. And this is something Tom Brady has mentioned before. He's not a big fan of rookie quarterbacks starting. He doesn't think that it's good to go ahead and just throw them out there and put them in the deep end and let them try to sink or swim, because a lot of times they'll sink and they might not be able to come back from that. And so if you have an opportunity to not put them out there right away, that's an ideal situation. And, it goes back to what teams need to have to put these players in good position. They've got to have a supporting staff around them. They've got to have weapons. They've got to have players that can, help elevate their game. And they have to have an organization that's patient enough to allow them to grow. And they're going to have mistakes. Like, look what happened with Bryce Young. He came in, started, got benched, and came back. And now he's playing good ball. And the Panthers were in the playoffs this year. So it can happen, but you have to understand the organizations have to be more patient. The problem is that we all live in a microwave society now. It's 60 seconds and everything's supposed to be done. And that's not reality. And that National Football League's not built like that. But coaches don't have a long time. Look how many coaches the Raiders have gone through in the last handful of years, like 5 or 6 in less than 6 years. You know what I mean? Like, it's ridiculous. So there's no patience there. And so that's part of the problem. If any organization could start to understand that, I think this will be in a much better place. But, yeah, I mean, kudos to these quarterbacks who found a way to stick in it and hang around the league and find a way to get back, on track, like Sam Darnold, who a lot of people still have trust issues with, including myself.
Me too.
I keep waiting for the other shoe to drop, but that's because we're trained to know that he's not very good from everything that we've seen.
Yep.
Q, you're my guy. You know that. I need your help helping me manifest. My football team is the number 1 overall pick. I need my basketball team and the Kings to have it at the same time. So work your magic over there in Vegas to help make that a reality, my guy, okay?
Hey, man, I got you. I got to come to Sacramento and hang out with you guys, man. Congratulations on the new show. I'm really happy for you guys.
I appreciate it. We'd love to see you. I'd take you to a Kings game, but I want you to have a good time.
No, that's right.
I appreciate you, boss. We'll talk soon. Keep up all the good work over there. Enjoy Radio Row and enjoy the Super Bowl stuff. Hopefully we see you down there. And I look forward to your coverage of the NFL draft, the new head coaching search, and beyond, my guy. So be good. We'll talk soon.
All right. Appreciate you guys. Have a good one.
Thanks, Q.
I love Q. Q Myers, the phenomenal host of the Locked On Raiders podcast from ESPN Las Vegas Radio as well. While we were talking to Q on our TV on ESPN, we had Mike McCarthy's introductory press conference the Pittsburgh Steelers, and we haven't gotten to talk about that yet, so let's squeeze that in over the final few minutes that we have here of this segment before we dive into the Super Bowl quarterback matchup between Sam Darnold and Drake May. What do you make of Pittsburgh native Mike McCarthy going to the terrible towels?
Yeah, well, let's start with that. Pittsburgh native, so that doesn't shock me. Pittsburgh is probably one of the biggest blue-collar towns. I've been there. It's a great town. People work hard there. That's kind of like what the Pittsburgh Steelers have been known for, like a hardworking, defensive-minded team that really hasn't gone through many coaches. I think 3 coaches in their entire, existence.
Since 1969.
Yeah, he'll be the 4th, right?
Yes, he's the 4th since the Beatles broke up.
Okay, I love these little notes that Kyle has.
What a random note.
4th since the Beatles broke up. And then get me on this, Kyle, too. because this is also them breaking a trend, because they have hired the last 2 coaches at least. They've been, 30 years old or so, and now this is clearly an older Mike McCarthy, 64, I think, years old.
62, I think.
60. Okay, so I'm aging him. 62 years old, which, by the way, Andy Reid, 5 years older than Mike McCarthy. Sean Payton, 49 months younger. So he's not that old.
Is Sean Payton that old?
Yes.
Wow.
He is. So we can't say, they just hired this old man. He's been out of the league. I think overall, this was a decent hire. It's a boring hire, but I think they need maybe somebody boring to start getting things right, especially on the offensive side of the ball.
Well, we know the familiarity that he has with Aaron Rodgers, of course.
Oh,
so
gosh.
the expectation that Rodgers maybe is coming back, sticking
retire.
around. Yes, he does.
They need to move forward.
I don't think the Pittsburgh Steelers hired Mike McCarthy to appease Aaron Rodgers by any means. I think that would be a silly, short-sighted move. But we know the Steelers, when in the case of Mike Tomlin, they have no issue whatsoever with longevity of coaches, and they gave him a 5-year contract despite him being 62. So clearly the Steelers don't mind it taking time to let McCarthy build what he's got to build there.
What were you going to say, Kyle?
I was going to answer your question first, but also to Matt's point. I wanted to believe that it would be like a slap in the face to Aaron Rodgers. Apparently, Rodgers is cool with McCarthy now.
Yeah.
He said years ago he has greater perspective and appreciates his time with McCarthy and boring stuff, so we don't get the drama.
Blah, blah.
I don't care.
But to Kayla's point, yes, Mike Tomlin was, I think, 36 when he got the job. Bill Cowher was 35. Chuck Noll was in his 30s, too. This is the first time the Steelers have hired a coach older than 40, I believe, since the 1930s.
Golly. So they have a type.
Yeah.
They're breaking that type.
They've been the young gun. We'll develop you and have you stick around for a long time franchise, but I guess they're going into all right, Mike McCarthy, come here and get us relevant again. Well, and I can't imagine the Steelers are too interested in a long-term rebuild, too. So I'm not saying Mike McCarthy has to put the Steelers in the playoffs or any kind of Super Bowl conversation next season or anything like that. But you make a hire like this, I imagine the Steelers' expectations are, it's not going to be long before we're back into the mix.
They have to. I mean, that's the standard there. That is the standard in Pittsburgh. That's their team. They've got other teams, obviously the Pirates that are trash, but this is their team that has brought them success. And I think the biggest thing for McCarthy is, who are you going to develop at quarterback? Because even if Aaron Rodgers is a bridge quarterback, which I don't think he should be, I think they should move on. You've got Will Howard there right now, the former Ohio State quarterback. But that's about it. And I don't know if they fully believe he can be the guy. I think they might give him an opportunity under McCarthy. But if not, they need to really quickly go and figure out who their quarterback of the future is going to be.
And I don't know if they're going to find it in this year's draft. If they're looking for one, they have the 21st pick. So it's not like, and I know at the top of the class, well, it was Mendoza and Dante Moore, and then Dante's gone. So now it's really just Mendoza at the top of the list in terms of quarterbacks. So I don't think the Steelers are looking for it necessarily right now. So maybe it is like all right, Aaron, come back for one more year, and we'll just kind of limp through a season and see where we're at. And maybe that puts them in a better draft position. I don't think the Steelers necessarily want to tank, but I don't know if they need...
They need to stop making the playoffs for no reason, because it's not helping them
Yes,
at all.
that's true.
It's like the Kings. What are you going to go in the play-in game and do what? Just stop. Tank and let's get the draft pick.
It is pretty incredible. I thought Mike Tomlin was amazing and the quarterback was the problem, but it is incredible that they went 10 years going above 500 and have 0 playoff wins to show for it.
Exactly.
That seems impossible.
Mediocre. It was winning, technically, but where did it get you? You're exactly right.
And they were like, oh, but we can't fire Mike. And then Tomlin was like, don't worry, boys.
I'm out of here.
I gotcha.
Now they just hire another Mike, because there seems to be a lot of Mikes in coaching, because Mikes are taking over the Super Bowl.
Mikes and Dougs. And Dougs. They're everywhere. You can't get rid of Mikes and Dougs. Well, when we come back, we'll talk about a Sam and a Drake. Sam Darnold of the Seattle Seahawks versus Drake May of the New England Patriots. It's the quarterback battle for the Super Bowl. Who has the edge, and is it really as simple as recency bias? We'll discuss coming up next.
Tonight Kings and Knicks. Game night with Scott Marsh and the high flyer Henry Turner.
Starts at 3 with tip-off at 4:30. Listen to your Sacramento Kings.
On the official home of Kings basketball, Sactown Sports 1140.
Talking about guns with others might not always feel comfortable, but it could save a life. Here's a way to start a conversation. Your family is going over to your neighbor's home for dinner for the first time. How would you ask if there are any unlocked guns in the home?
Hey, we're so excited for tonight. Before we come over, though, may I ask if there are any unlocked guns in your home?
Our guns are stored securely, locked in a safe that the kids can't access.
Awesome.
Learn how to have the conversation at agreetoagree.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line.
But my throat has officially thrown in the towel.
Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. They're max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast.
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
Join Sactown Sports downtown before every Kings game and pick up an In-Shape Fitness Kings Rally Towel while supplies last. If you walk, lift, stretch, or sweat, you belong. Start the year strong and join today at InShape.com.
Celebrate the new year in style with a new Honda from Stockton Honda. Whether you're shopping new or pre-owned, Stockton Honda has the selection and savings. With new Hondas in stock and ready to go, now is the time to save on your favorite Honda in person or online. CRV, HRV, Pilot, Accord, Civic, and Ridgeline. It's a new year with endless possibilities. Get the deals that make it easy to say yes. Upgrade and save today at Stockton Honda.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
Guys, your New Year goals start now. Get limited time savings on our most popular treatments at Revive Men's Health. Visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com to see if you qualify to save hundreds.
Card collectors know there's nothing as special as a rare one-of-one card. And now you can hear a very rare one-of-a-kind sports card show right here on Sactown Sports. Whitey Gleason here inviting you to join me and Mr. True Sports Cards himself, Imran Pilati, for the True Sports Card Show every Saturday morning at 10 on Sactown Sports. It's the only sports card radio show in the nation. For all your hobby needs, get to True Sports Cards, 6661 Stanford Ranch Road in Rockland. And for hobby, insight, and fun, join us for the True Sports Card Show Saturday mornings at 10 on Sactown Sports.
The other guys must think you failed math. Get this huge discount. Then the fine print hits you with $5,200 in mandatory ads. It's adorable in a scammy kind of way. At Hoblet, we skip the tricks. The price you see is the price you actually pay. What a wild concept, huh? Hoblet, family owned 77 years. Experience the difference online at hobletdodge.com.
You remember me from a show called And Joe? I'm back on the radio, Sacramento. It's Joe Mami, and when you need your new country fix, join me weekdays from 6A to 10 for the Pat and Cody with Joe show on New Country 105.1 KNCI or on the free KNCI app.
Matt and Kayla on Sactown Sports 1140.
You know, truthfully, this is one of my least favorite times of the sports year because I'm not a patient person. There's a ton going on, don't get me wrong. We got the trade deadline coming up next week, Super Bowl coming up in a week and some change. But that 2-week gap between the NFC and AFC championship games and Super Bowl Sunday, I hate it every year. Mm-hmm. It's not as bad as like the summertime period, which we will experience when it's All-Star weekend and there's no baseball games and nothing's going on. That's the worst time.
Yeah, it is.
August is
we'll still have Kuminga.
Oh, goodness.
I don't know.
We probably will.
We will see. You know, honestly, you might be right. There's the month of August in general I'm not a fan of because like preseason football just feels ugh.
It's boring.
It's boring, and the Kings season is still a long ways away. Nothing's going on, so I'm not a big fan of that. But this stretch where it's just like, just get to the freaking Super Bowl already. I know why they take as much time, and it's good to get people healthy and the prep and everything like that. But I'm not a patient person, Kayla. Bring on the Super Bowl.
I'm ready for it. I really am. And I think it is kind of like hard, though, because you know it's going to come to an end in terms of the actual season. College has been done. Now you've got football that's going to be, out of the way. But you do have March Madness to look forward to. So I always get I'm sad, but then I'm excited because I love March Madness. So you just have that 1 month before March Madness. There's a little bit of a lull. But right now it's just so hard because I'm coming here. I'm expecting all these trades to happen. I'm now covering, the NBA, and I want to see all this stuff. And then what happens?
Crickets.
Nothing. I get nothing, Matt.
We are going to dive into the Sacramento Kings and how they might just be stuck. I mean, there's just nothing. There's just nothing. I don't know if there's anything that's really, truly going to happen between now and the trade deadline. We'll get into that at noon during our lunch break segment. But right now, focusing on the Super Bowl, you've got a matchup of Sam Darnold, who proved a lot of people wrong with his performance in the NFC Championship game and going toe-to-toe with Matt Stafford and the performance that he turned in, but is one game enough to erase kind of the doubts and concerns that have surrounded Sam Darnold for his career against Drake May, this exciting young quarterback who's never been on this stage, so there's a lot of unknown with him. Is it really as simple as Darnold has the edge because of the performance that he just turned in, or is there an argument for why, if it's a quarterback battle, that Drake May should get a little more love than Sam Darnold does?
It's interesting because I think the easy answer is to say Sam Darnold has the advantage because, one, I think he has the better defense, in terms of helping him.
Big time.
And digging him out of situations if there were to be a situation. Because, again, he turned over the ball a lot this year.
Yep.
In terms of Sam Darnold, he had 14 interceptions, I should say, this season compared to a Drake May 8. So I know there's been the whole conversation. The Patriots have played a much easier schedule than the Seahawks, and they have. And that's just the facts. But I don't think it's fair to say New England is just pure luck is why they're here. There's been luck that's gone into it. But comparing the two quarterbacks, I think Sam has the advantage for the reason that I think he has played against tougher teams. He, I think, has a little bit more in terms of the weapons. And I think that he has the advantage. He's learned from his stuff in the past. And he learned in this playoff run at this point. He's kind of has the experience advantage, even though he's had a weird career to get here.
Yeah, it's experience, check, he's got the advantage. It's weapons, check, he's got the advantage. It's recency bias with the game he just had in the NFC Championship game, check, he's got the advantage. Drake May's the wild card, though.
And he's athletic.
He's athletic, and he's young and exciting, and it's not that Patrick Mahomes is old necessarily, but Patrick Mahomes was labeled as the next Tom Brady, the guy that will take the torch when Tom Brady is done. And we're not to the point where Patrick has to worry about passing the torch necessarily, but we're already looking at if Patrick starts to sunset a little bit, or if the dynasty of the Chiefs is over, who rises, right? And I think a lot of people are looking at Drake May of having that potential. Well, what better way to cement that than by winning a Super Bowl this early and shining on the Super Bowl stage? And sometimes in wild, that's what I love about the NFL playoffs and the Super Bowl. It's one game. Anything can happen. Anybody can win one game versus a best-of-7 series in the NBA. Is the unknown of Drake May and the curiosity of what can he do enough to potentially change the tides a little bit in favor of the Patriots? Because let's put it this way. If the Patriots are going to win, it has to come down to a quarterback versus quarterback thing. If it's a team versus team, then the Seahawks should probably roll over the Patriots.
Overall, they just have a little bit more. But there's always that nuance in terms of a younger quarterback who you just haven't seen as much of. We all know the story of Sam Darnold by now. And look, he could pave his own storyline in terms of the greatest comeback story of a quarterback who was once in the dumps and now wins a Super Bowl. But Drake May could also pave his own way as being one of the younger quarterbacks to win a national championship, a Super Bowl. And I think what I love about Drake May is he wasn't the quarterback who completely bursted on the scene his rookie year, like a Jaden Daniels or a CJ Stroud.
Yep.
He's been in a good position to have not as enough overwhelming pressure to set himself up for disaster year one. He kind of was okay year one, and then you've seen him grow at his own pace. Yeah, he's way ahead of schedule, but I think just the athleticism and the smarts of this guy, you cannot underestimate. I do believe Josh McDaniels will have him ready. I don't like McDaniels as a head coach. I never will, but I do like him as an offensive coordinator. I think he's very, very smart. And look, anything can happen on a stage like this. Given talent, I get it. Seattle's more the talented team. I just don't think you can underestimate New England. I don't think they're getting enough credit right now.
I feel that completely, considering I'm one of those people that is absolutely underestimating them. Like I've pretty much,
and I'm a Seattle fan,
right.
So it's like I want to underestimate them.
I've almost completely written them off, but
Yeah.
it has less to do with the Patriots and more to do with just with the AFC. I thought the NFC title game was the Super Bowl.
And it's the harder conference.
I mean, the NFC, just the when the Bills were knocked out by the Broncos, I thought the AFC's chances went up in flames.
Yeah.
And then when Bo Nix was hurt, in addition to that, it's like now they're really up in flames, right? Not to say that the Patriots don't deserve to be there and they haven't worked hard to get there, and they've had some pretty impressive wins regardless of how easy their schedule is. You play who's in front of you. They've gotten here. It's hard to get here. They deserve to be here. But every bit of pressure and every bit of expectation is on the shoulders of the Seattle Seahawks. And you look at the Seahawks, and one of the things that they didn't do great against the Rams was the pass rush. They didn't get to Matt Stafford at all. So I know Drake May's comfortable in the pocket, and the Seahawks, I imagine, are going to probably put more of an emphasis on getting to the quarterback. But at the same time, Drake's got the athleticism to be able to. It's going to, if the Patriots win this game, it's going to be because Drake May was the absolute, no doubt about it, MVP.
Yeah.
Like, that's just the way it has to be. Drake has to carry the Patriots with a pretty sensational performance for them to win this, and the defense just has to keep them close. Give them a chance.
And the Seattle Seahawks defense has been the breadwinner of the team this year. We get that. They did not have a good performance. I expect them to be ready and better. They've got to find a pass rush, though. I found it a very interesting stat. New England's defense has been sneaky good in the playoffs. In fact, we were talking about pass rush. They've been able to get to the quarterback 12 times in the postseason. That's the most out of any postseason team right now. I feel like that's a defensive kind of situation to keep your eye on, because they know there is still the target of Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
And finding a way to try to ruffle him. Sam didn't have that issue because, well, he did have that issue a little bit on last Sunday, but they were able to make up for it because he played pretty well.
Well, we give Sam Darnold credit for, and we talked about this yesterday, the response to Matt Stafford's 4-play, 75-yard touchdown drive that erased that quick touchdown off of the muffed punt. Like, that to me was like, okay, that was Sam's biggest moment of the game. But that still wasn't a game tied or down by 3 or down by 7 2-minute drill to go and win it. I think the Patriots need to do everything in their power to put Darnold in that as high pressure situation as it possibly can be. Because again, all the expectations are on the shoulders of him and the Seahawks to win this game. If the Patriots can keep it close to where Darnold has to beat them with a big play, and maybe he just throws a 20-yard pass to Jackson Smith and Jigba, and that's it. You tip your cap. But you got to try and put him in that position. Let me ask you this question, and Kyle, you can jump on this too if you want. Because of that Seattle defense and how good it is, how many points do the Patriots have to score, put up on the board, you think, in order to truly have a chance to win the game? Because 2 touchdowns ain't going to do it.
No, I would say, I think I gave this number before, like around the 24 mark.
24?
Yeah, that seems to be my go-to number sometimes.
Because are the Patriots going to be able to hold the Seattle Seahawks to less than that?
Yeah.
And they should be able to, you'd think.
But I don't know, because you've seen Seattle's offense keep up with something sometimes.
They can cook.
I actually think it's pretty less because,
really,
the regular season Patriots defense was not as good if you look at the numbers. In the postseason, I think they've only allowed 25 points in 3 games. So I think the Patriots defense isn't getting enough credit, even though
that's what I was saying.
We were talking yesterday. It's kind of like a no-name defense. No one. It's a bunch of former first-round picks that were burnouts in other places and stuff like that. But I'd say 17.
I just feel like I don't think Darnold's going to play a perfect game again. I think Darnold's going to have a turnover. Darnold's going to have a moment. And the Patriots need to make sure that moment matters. What I mean by that is it can't happen when they're already down 10 points or 2 touchdowns. It's
gotta be
whatever.
Close game.
Hopefully and then you can't just score 3 off of it.
Nope.
3 has to be the bare minimum. But when you get that turnover and that gives you life, if the Patriots get the ball first, they have to score. And then if you turn over Sam Darnold once, twice, however many times, but if it's only once, you have to capitalize on that moment. If not, I feel like the Seahawks will create enough separation to where defensively they can just hold you well enough that you can't break through.
So in a way, you do leave it up again. We're going back to the point of it goes into Drake May's hands.
Yeah,
possibly.
And that's the thing. This game is not to, again, disparage the Patriots in any kind of way, or even to undermine or talk less about the Seahawks defense, but we know the quarterback position is the most important position of all of sports. All eyes are on Sam Darnold. If Sam Darnold plays a clean game, there's no way the Seahawks lose.
Nope.
If Sam Darnold cracks under pressure, you open the door
There's a chance.
maybe Drake May can punch through.
You're saying, and that's the thing that you can't underestimate of Mike Vrabel, because Mike Vrabel knows situational football.
Mm-hmm.
He does his homework. He gets his staff and players prepared. That's why I'm scared that they're not getting enough credit, because that is what Mike Vrabel thrives off of.
We shall see. We shall see if they're able to make it happen. I don't know. It's a sticky note up on the board.
I know it's a sticky note, and I hope you're right in the end, because I do want the Seahawks to win the Super Bowl.
I've written the Seahawks already as the Super Bowl champions, and I congratulated them after they won the NFC Championship game, but we'll wait and see with that. But coming up next, it's our Pick a Side segment, a bunch of different topics that Kyle will present. Kayla and I will pick a side. We might agree, we might disagree, but we'll talk through it coming up next here on Sactown Sports.
Tonight, Kings and Knicks. Game night with Scott Marsh and the high flyer Henry Turner.
Starts at 3 with tip-off at 4:30. Listen to your Sacramento Kings.
On the official home of Kings basketball, Sactown Sports 1140.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install a Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/deal for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
Big savings are back at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Looking to own or lease? We have options for everyone. Plus, lower interest rates at Folsom Lake Honda make for lower payments. It's no wonder Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Get an instant cash offer for your trade at FolsomLakeHonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not.
Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Never have I ever called my sister from the finish line of my first marathon. Hello? You won't believe where I am. Are you running? Mile 26. I'm gonna make it.
Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e with its advanced camera system on us. Plus, 2 lines for just $30 a line.
Guys, I can't believe it.
I knew you could do it, babe.
That was amazing. Mom, how do you feel? I feel great. I can't feel my feet. Let's take a picture, and then you may carry me to the car.
Share every stride, every mile, every memory on America's best network. Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e on us and 2 lines for just $30 a line.
With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 eligible port-ins on Essentials 55 Plus for well-qualified customers with autopay plus taxes, fees, and $35 device connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us. Finance agreement 128 gigabytes, $599.99 required. Best mobile network in the U.S. based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence Data 1H 2025. Visit T-Mobile.com.
When a person is seriously injured, there's no substitute for the personal legal relationship offered by the local NorCal firm of Ashton & Price. From the first attorney meeting, every important decision is made with a direct consultation with, and I can't believe I have to say this, a real, live, experienced, flesh and blood local attorney. It's called Home Court Advantage for a reason. Ashton & Price, serious local attorneys for serious people with serious injuries with no fee until we win. For the best local advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton & Price.
Tune in every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday for the Toyota Tahoe Report with Johnny Mosley and me, Elena, bringing you the latest weather conditions up at Tahoe. Brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. Toyota, let's go places.
It's Matt George, and Kayla Anderson on Sactown Sports 1140.
It's time for Pick a Side, and you too, listening out there, can pick a side. Feel free to hop into the YouTube live stream on Sactown Sports 1140's YouTube channel. Not only can you find all of our live programming there from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., you can also watch all of our different videos. If you miss any guests, they'll go up there. You can catch the Matt George podcast, which is available now exclusively on Sactown Sports, my Kings-centric podcast. And on tomorrow's episode of the Matt George podcast, after we talk about Kings and Knicks tonight, which you can check out a post-game episode, it'll drop this evening, we're doing a mailbag episode on the Matt George podcast, and at around noon, we're going to be throwing out a call for questions. So if you have any questions about the Kings that you would like me to answer on the Matt George mailbag podcast coming on Wednesday, we'll let you know how you can submit them, but you can start entering them into the chat right now if you're there. You can text them to us on the text line, 916-339-1140. You can email me directly, mgeorge@bonneville.com. Send them to me there. I would love to be able to answer those questions for you. But it is time for Pick a Side. Kyle Ledbetter, what are we talking about today?
Well, our first pick a side is about NFL broadcasters.
Oh, spicy.
Specifically, Tom Brady.
Yep.
Some people call him the GOAT. I say it's Patrick Mahomes. Should Tom Brady leave the broadcast booth after this season?
Yes. Tom, you're running my football team. And like Hugh Myers just talked about, I know Tom's good in the broadcast booth. I love that clip just like everybody did when he grabbed a football and explained to us how to throw the ball in the wind. Yay, like it's great. And Tom's awesome. You're running my football team, dude. I need you all in to fix the Las Vegas Raiders because it's a mess. It's a big-time mess. Let's not pretend that you're not directly involved in all the decisions that they make. Tom, leave the broadcast booth, put on the suit, be the executive that the Raiders need you to be, and get the silver and black back to relevancy, I beg you. Easy for me to say.
We're going to agree on so much, I feel like, more than we're going to disagree. My reasoning is different. I do agree, though, that I think he needs to pick one thing that he's going to give his full attention to. I just don't want to see Tom Brady in the booth.
Why?
I think he's boring.
Aww.
I think he's a suit. I think Greg Olsen needs to be reunited with Kevin Burkhardt on the number one, A team. Instead, I have to be forced to listen to, yes, a GOAT is a quarterback, not a GOAT in broadcasting. I went to school for broadcast journalism. I worked my butt off. I worked my way up the ladder. Tom Brady just gets to retire and then say, I'm going to be paid millions of dollars to become a broadcaster?
$35 million a year.
You're not him, Tom Brady.
Must be nice.
Yeah, I guess I don't care. Like,
Kyle, I was looking for the
yeah, like
answer.
I guess we'll go with the three. Like, should he leave? Should he not? I don't think it matters. He's a fine broadcaster. When he talks, it's a little bit of a word salad, but his insight is actually good. We'll see if he has a Tony Romo effect, where the more he gets out of football, the less he remembers about the schematics of football. But we'll see. I'm gonna, you know what? I'm going to give all three of us, yes, Tom Brady should leave the broadcast booth. Our first all agreement.
Next one.
All right, how about another broadcaster, Tony Romo,
Jeez.
who is, I believe they were saying he's in year 6 of a 10-year contract with
him.
CBS right now. Should he leave the broadcast booth? Because people have been very critical of his broadcast.
I like Tony. I don't know. I've enjoyed listening to Tony over the years. I enjoy when he predicts plays and he can tell you what's going to happen before it happens, and then he explains why. I do understand that he has a tendency to step over the call at times, which is very common with color commentators. That's just an art form that you need to learn when to bow out and when to hop in. But I am a fan of Tony Romo on the broadcasts, and he's not running my football team, so Tony can stay.
You're like, you stay with Jim Nantz. I like the pairing. I'm not going to lie. I just said that Tom Brady was boring. He's more of a suit broadcaster. I feel like Tony Romo does give a little bit more juice to the broadcast. You're going to get a little more squeeze out of him. At times, I'm like, did that just come out of your mouth? But at least it makes me laugh, and I have something to talk about, and I actually make fun of him sometimes, and I enjoy that. So I'll say I'm fine with him sticking to the broadcast as long as he doesn't keep forgetting about things, as long as, because he's out of football now for how many years? 6 years.
Yeah, okay, we're going to go the opposite direction. I'd say this with conviction, Tony Romo might be the worst broadcaster I've heard anymore.
Kyle.
And he started out good.
What changed for you?
So
you became grumpy?
Well, partially. But two,
Grumpy old man.
he never stopped interrupting Jim Nantz. He just always interrupts Jim Nantz. Two, he got lazy on his production and his research.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't know left guard names. He doesn't know tackle names.
Fair.
He's missing on the drawing the plays thing.
He's got to golf.
That's CBS there was a report a couple years ago. CBS had to go to his house and tell him you're not doing a good enough job.
Really?
Yes, that was a thing. CBS executives went to his house and told him you need to do a better job.
So he got comfortable.
Yes, and people were pointing out during the playoff game he was calling Josh Allen Mahomes, and like he was missing on first downs. He was just being repetitive. Like. At this point, I make fun of him while I'm sitting on my couch.
Leave Tony alone.
Tony is so bad, and I'll never forgive him for ruining, and you were talking about the laying out thing, it's an art form, ruin the final call of the Chiefs' Super Bowl catch against the 49ers.
That's the best thing he did. I
will
love that.
Never forgive him for that.
Screw the Chiefs. Ruin their 19th Super Bowl in 20 years. Who gives a damn?
The Super Bowl winning touchdown was just caught, and you felt the urge to word salad all over one of the
you
great
got like
moments.
6 rings in the last decade. Relax. Oh, you ruined my final call of my 8th Super Bowl.
Could have been one of the great moments in the history of football, and instead we have Tony Romo
All right.
word salad.
What's our next question?
All right, Matt, this is a Matt George specialty.
Oh, I don't think so.
What is worse, sitting in traffic or sitting at the DMV?
You know, I actually am going to pass the baton over, and I'm going to lob it up for Kayla Anderson, because this is something that Kayla directly had to deal with recently, sitting in the DMV. I think I know where she's going, and I probably agree with her. Kayla?
I would say the DMV.
I
cannot stand the atmosphere in the DMV. It gives me high-end anxiety. I don't know why. It's cold. The walls are white. Like it reminds me like I'm in an insane asylum or something, and you're just waiting for your name to be called, only to be getting up there and having to do more stuff.
Mm-hmm.
At least on a drive here to work or back from work, I can tune into the station, or I can tune into my favorite podcast. I can give a best friend a call, and I can, just unwind a little.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, you might be bumper to bumper, but you're in your own comfort of your car.
Mm-hmm. Well, look, DMV is 2026. I'm glad you're doing more things online. Can we work on getting plastic chairs that don't make you feel like you're sitting on death?
That's part of it, too.
And they're way too close together. Like, we went through a freaking pandemic a handful of years ago. Like, I don't need to sit next to some old guy who's there because his truck registration is up, or somebody else is trying to get their DMV or their license renewed for the 6th time, or someone that keeps failing their driver's test. I don't care. It's uncomfortable. It's terrible. Yeah, the DMV sucks. The only thing I'll say that sucks about sitting in traffic, other than when you're in a hurry, you ever had a stick shift in traffic?
Oh, no, because I never learned to drive one.
My first 2 cars were stick shifts, and bumper-to-bumper traffic in a stick shift, like hell. Literal hell. It sucks.
I can't even imagine doing that.
Nope.
That is too much work.
Nope. It's exhausting. Pity me. But yeah, DMV's way worse.
So once again, for the 5th time in a row, I'm going to go against Matt George and Kayla Anderson.
What are you talking
Sitting
about?
in traffic, I just hate waiting in lines in general. The thing with the DMV, though, and I'm going to make this very specific point.
God, I hate you.
Nowadays, when you check in at the DMV, you can get on your phone the wait list, and they will text you. So you can go sit in your car and listen to your podcast and your music and just check the line on your phone instead of sitting at the DMV staring at the screen for an hour and a half.
I just have to sit in the parking lot and waste my car's battery life while I wait for some miserable person
Put your
to tell me.
headphones in and listen to a podcast. All I'm saying is that the DMV has given you options to not go through the DMV experience. With traffic, I can't control traffic. I hate traffic. I will purposely not drive at certain times because I don't want to sit in line in traffic.
Listen, people go through traffic every day and survive. If someone had to go to the DMV every single day, other than they worked there and were paid to do
crazy.
it, there would be blood on the DMV.
Not saying it's fun. I'm saying the DMV experience can be better with technology.
All right, get to the next one really quick. So do we have time? Because Do we have time?
30 seconds or less.
All right.
2-lane drive-thrus are terrible.
The worst. They are the worst.
Oh, wait,
Stop.
was this yours?
Yes. Stop making me make a decision and a 50-50 piece of crap to let me know which lane's going to be faster. I'm wrong every time. The 2-lane drive-thrus are trash. It's either the mom's minivan with 17 children in it like a clown car, or it's the Corvette with one guy. But the one guy is a jerk that takes 17 minutes to explain his cup of coffee, so he takes forever compared to the mom with 17 kids.
Did this happen to you today?
Yes, it happens every time. I'm the one car, and it's even in both lanes, and I gotta pick which one, and they're all wrong. It's wrong every time. And then I get to the one time that I get it right, they take their time to get me on the speaker.
Is this Dutch Bros?
Dutch Bros is like this too. Dutch Bros is like this too. Dutch Bros also, like, they have the 2 lines, but everybody typically just goes in one.
Yes,
and then
'cause
that
they
one
think it's wrong.
a-hole goes into the other one and goes all the way to the front. Everyone's like, screw you, bud. Screw you. 2 lanes in the drive-thru are worthless. It didn't work. Get rid of them.
I don't like them either. I feel like I'm always doing the wrong thing. McDonald's, if I don't eat a lot of McDonald's, but when I do, I feel like that's the one that screws me up the most. I pick the wrong one
Every time.
always.
Every time.
You're not going to believe this, guys.
You're
but
against us.
Go to break.
I disagree.
Go to break.
Oh, God.
Go to break.
I don't like waiting in lines.
Go to break! We'll be back.
This is Bill Cartwright. Join us Thursday, February 5th at the Golden One Center for the Sacramento Sports Hall of Fame celebration.
Tonight, Kings and Knicks. Game night with Scott Marsh and the high flyer Henry Turner.
Starts at 3 with tip-off at 4:30. Listen to your Sacramento Kings.
On the official home of Kings basketball, Sactown Sports 1140.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
When value matters, Elk Grove Chevrolet delivers. Right now, purchase a 2026 Chevrolet Silverado for $4,500 off. The Silverado 1500 stands out with legendary towing power, a bold new design, and the dependability you expect from Chevy. Visit myelkgrovechevrolet.com for full details. Don't miss your chance to drive the new Chevrolet Silverado. Stop by Elk Grove Chevrolet today and experience quality that goes the distance.
2 iconic comedians, 1 night of laughs. David Spade, Dana Carvey.
In 1998, they invented the cordless mic. Now let me just, listen, Paramount Theater, let's not jump on trends.
Even in the best marriage, at one point, you look over and go, not my best choice.
Friday, February 27th, the venue at Thunder Valley. Tickets on sale now at visitthundervalleyresort.com. David Spade and Dana Carvey together.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Cunahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/deal for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now.
800-575-7098.
Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-7098. That's 800-575-7098. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
KHD HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sactown Sports 1140.
Matt and Kayla on Sactown Sports 1140.
Hey, do you want to call in and explain why two-lane drive-thrus suck? Now's your time to do it. It's the lunch break.
It's the lunch break.
Maybe you're in for a lunch break. Maybe you're in a drive-thru right now, and you pick the wrong lane. Once you get your food, call us, scream. If you're in the DMV, call us while you're in the DMV and scream. Nobody will look anywhere like sideways because it happens all the time because nobody likes it there. So just. Hey.
Or if you're in your car going to lunch.
And stuck in traffic.
Or if you're in your car at the DMV because you're waiting for your turn on your phone.
Nobody likes Kyle when he disagrees, even if he's right. Call 916-339-1140 or 1-800-920-1140. You can also text the 339-1140 number if you want to jump in during our lunch break. But we turn our attention back to the Sacramento Kings. Kayla, tell me if you're shocked by this.
Oh, gosh.
The Sacramento Kings will not have any representation at All-Star Weekend. Oh,
you're
man.
kidding me.
It was so close. I remember. Thank you. The Kings, about a month ago, they put out a tweet that's like, make sure to vote for our guys for the All-Star Weekend. And I know they all have to do it. This is the first time I've never seen them say, like, vote for DeMar DeRozan, vote for Russell Westbrook. They're like, vote for our guys.
Yes.
Like, we're obligated to put this out. I know whoever put that tweet out was just like, we've won 6 games.
Yeah.
Like, vote for.
Here you go.
Go ahead and vote if you want to. I don't know.
We totally could have done a goof to get Westbrook on the fan vote, right?
I was just going to say
we definitely could have.
Have the Westbrook Hive attack.
We definitely could have, but I wouldn't have felt good about it. I would have felt icky. But I'm not happy, not going to lie to you. Like, the one hope that we had was, okay, maybe we can get some representation in the Rising Stars game. And this year there's 3 teams. There's the NBA sophomores, which the Kings wouldn't have had in there because I don't think Devin Carter's making it. I don't know. Maybe he had a chance.
You're saying there's a chance?
I mean, he played 2 games in Stockton and played kind of well and played 6 minutes the other night, so maybe he had a chance to make the sophomore team. Surprised he didn't make it. Not only did none of the 3 Kings rookies, Maxime, Raynaud, Devin Carter, or Nique Clifford, not make the NBA rookies squad, and I'll share with you who did make it over them. The reigning G League champion Stockton Kings don't have a single person on the NBA G League team. So it's not worth getting like too bothered about, but this was our one hope at any representation at All-Star Weekend, and the Kings got none of it, nada. I don't know if you feel a certain type of way about who should have been there, but hey, I don't have to watch All-Star Weekend now. I'm all for it.
You're fine. You're like, I'm just going to skip that. I get it, though. It is in a season that is pretty much a throwaway, and we're frustrated with no trades being made. It's like, okay, can we have something to at least maybe tune in for one part of NBA All-Star Weekend? No, you cannot. Yeah. And by the way, you've seen growth inside your organization. That has been the positive with a guy like Maxime Raynaud, who I feel like if there were going to be representation of a rookie, it would probably be Maxime. But I understand that maybe, the numbers of the 3-point shot it's not all there.
Yeah.
But we've seen the growth, which is good for us. And, for us, it's like, oh yeah, he's been pretty good. He's been a pretty good piece. But overall, they're not going to give any respect to the Kings.
Yeah, and the Kings aren't necessarily deserving of respect in any kind of way. But you hit the nail on the head with Max. He was the chance. And I think if Max had continued to play on the tear that he was on as early as a couple of weeks ago, maybe he would have had a better chance. Because as of late, if we're being honest, Max has kind of cooled off a little bit. When he first stepped into that starting role for Domantas Sabonis, and he was like double-double machine for a while, had a week to 2 week period where he was scoring plenty, rebounding well, had a really good two-man game going with Russell Westbrook. Like, he looked really good. And he's since cooled down. I don't have any issue, truth be told, at all with Dylan Cardwell not being on this list. Same thing with Nique Clifford. Like, out of the 3 Kings rookies, Nique has been the worst, but it's not like, oh, God, he's terrible. It's just he's been the least impressive of the 3 rookies, so how could I expect him to be on this NBA rookie team?
And if Dylan would have had an earlier start to finding, the consistency of minutes, maybe we would see somebody like him at this point. But it was a late start for him to get minutes because there weren't as many injuries at that spot, or if it was, he wasn't getting the opportunity yet.
Yeah, and the Rising Stars game is typically the most competitive of the 3 games. Well, 2 games.
I know. How many are there now?
Because there's a bunch of different All-Star teams, so there's multiple mini games in the All-Star game.
Yeah.
I don't know. The NBA All-Star weekend just sucks in general.
Wait, last year didn't a Rising Stars tournament winner play in the All-Star game?
That started a couple years ago when there were 3 All-Star teams, and then whatever Rising Stars team won got to play in the. It sucks.
I hate all of it so much.
Nobody cares. It's all terrible. But the rookie or the Rising Stars game typically has, if there's any competitiveness, you sometimes get those moments in the Rising Stars games. Even so, like, those games are not made for someone like Dylan Cardwell. Like, what is he going to do? Oh, look at that flashy block. Like, they're just not made for Dylan.
It's not made. You got to have some shooting ability,
right?
And
as much as I would have loved to see Dylan Cardwell pull up from 35 feet for no reason, just for the hell of it, like that's not a game for him.
Right.
So I'm not necessarily bothered by Dylan not being there. I did think Max would give us a chance. It's not a snub to the level that I was frustrated with, the same way like Domantas Sabonis was snubbed a couple years in a row when he really deserved to be there. Sure as hell doesn't this year.
No,
but
not healthy anyway.
It's a bummer.
He is healthy now. But.
It's a bummer because I was hoping to see some sort of Kings representation period, and that was our only shot.
It's sad because that's really that's the continued story of what we talk about is all these veteran players that at one point, you feel like they've been good enough and they have been NBA All-Star selections, but then we're now in this weird period where they're all a little older. Nobody seems to care about them, or they've been unhealthy like Domantas Sabonis. And here we are. We're just like, that's the hope. It's like the 3 young guys that we keep on saying, we need to see them play more minutes.
And the Rising Stars Challenge is typically the time where you see at least some little bit of Kings representation. Because sure as hell not going to be the 3-point contest. Last year in the Rising Stars game for the Kings was... Wait, no, they didn't have any representation last year. So this is 2 years in a row that the Kings have not had any representation, which kind of sucks. Because it was Keegan. The Salt Lake City year was De'Aaron and Domas were actual All-Stars.
Yep.
Don't forget Kevin Huerter putting up 6 in the 3-point
The All-Star weekend was the night that Kevin Huerter broke. I'm not even kidding you. Kevin Huerter broke that night because he represented the Kings in the 3-point contest. He had the worst performance out of everyone. It was brick after brick after brick after brick. He was shooting like 42 or something % from 3-point range that season.
Did he get like the yips that night?
I have no idea. From that moment, he couldn't shoot for the rest of his time in Sacramento.
Kayla, let me tell you this. I remember making this joke on the air when it happened. So Kevin Huerter got 7 in the 3-point contest. Many years earlier, they did a goof where Draymond Green went against Kevin Hart in the 3-point contest, and both Draymond Green and Kevin Hart scored higher than 7 in the 3-point contest.
That is sad.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Huerter never recovered from that. It was such a bad 3-point shooting performance, and he came back. Like, you have to understand, Kayla, the start of the Beam team, the team started 0-4.
Yeah.
So we're like, oh, God, here we go again. Like, Mike Brown's first year, they start 0-4. Then, like, Keegan's out. He's not playing yet because he started his rookie season. He was out with COVID. So Keegan got to avoid all of the embarrassing rookie duties, like when you have to, well, he still had rookie duties, but at the exhibition Kings Fest, Fan Fest game that they have before the season starts, they make all the rookies sing. Like this year, Dylan Cardwell sang All I Want for Christmas Is You in freaking September.
Whatever that was.
He nailed it, I guess. But
the one fan fest I went to, I remember Sasha refused to do it.
Oh, yeah. Because, no way. Because Sasha's like 48 years old. But Keegan didn't have to do any of that stuff. So he starts the season, he's out with COVID. And he comes back, initially comes in off the bench, but he shoots well. And there was a month where Kevin Huerter was shooting over 50% from 3-point range. He was on fire, and the Kings were just running him off of Domantas Sabonis DHOs over and over and over and over again. He would not miss. De'Aaron Fox was Mr. Fourth Quarter. Like, that team was putting up 120 points a night. Like, it was just...
It's like clockwork.
Herter hit the quintessential game winner that
against
like
Utah,
Kings fans point to.
I'll show you during the break. I'll play for you that clip. It breaks the microphones inside. It's so loud. The pop is so loud for a Kings Jazz game in the middle of the season where Herter hits a game-winning three and the entire place explodes. It's one of my favorite Kings moments ever inside the Golden One Center, truthfully.
And now he's hurting.
And well, he's in Chicago. He's doing better than the freaking Kings are. But Herter goes to the... I get the joke. I just landed.
Did you skip over? I thought you got it and just didn't think it was funny.
No, it just landed. Anyway, Herter goes to the All-Star weekend. He misses 1,000 threes at All-Star weekend. Could not hit a shot.
I think he got the yips.
I don't know. He didn't. I'm convinced he did not hit a single three-pointer from that point on, which is not true, but I'm convinced.
So then in the playoff series, I believe the first 4 games he was shooting like 15% from three, and Mike was adamant we're not changing the starting lineup. We're not changing the starting lineup, and then eventually
they did.
He had to.
Yeah.
And then the next year, he basically pulled Kevin Herter from the starting lineup to experiment with Chris Duarte, and Herter got pissed, and it was the beginning of the end. It was just...
Then there's the other... There's another fracture.
Which, like, fair. Well, Chris Duarte's starting over you. You're just like, what are we doing here?
Because if Kevin Herter wasn't hitting shots, he wasn't doing anything for you. He was a decent rebounder for his size.
There is drama. Like there's never-ending drama here. It's always some sort of story that got him to where this is, and then that broke off. And
get ready.
I mean,
And look at Kevin Herter now, scoring 25 points in his return to Golden One Center and hitting
somewhere else for another team.
Yeah. He came back with the Bulls, and he cooked the Kings last year. And I remember...
Why is that a thing, too?
Because revenge game, right? And so I asked him, because I'm working for ABC 10 at the time, so I pulled him aside after the game because I like Kevin a lot. I've had a good conversation with Kevin. And I pulled him aside and basically asked, because a lot of times you'll ask, was this a revenge game? They're like, nah, it's just another basketball. Kevin's like, no, it was definitely a revenge game. He's like, absolutely, that was a revenge game, and that felt good. Like, Kevin Herter cooked the Kings that night.
I just realized, Matt, Kayla doesn't know about the fake Kevin Herter.
Oh, you don't know about fake Kevin Herter?
No. Is this a thing?
Kayla's coming with us. Kayla hasn't been to a Kings game yet. That's why she's happy.
Well, I've been to a preseason game.
Well, that's why you're happy. We need to bring you to a Kings game. And no, the vibes are great. The fans always bring it. But there was a fan who is a redhead fan, super nice guy, and he dresses up, or he used to dress up as Kevin Herter, where he wore full jersey, full outfit, headband, everything. And he sat always in front of the media area.
And he kind of looked like him, but it was mostly just the red hair.
Yeah, it's just the red hair.
Because that's unique.
But fake Kevin Herter. Yeah. So he still comes to
he's
games.
Still there?
He just doesn't dress as Kevin Herter anymore. He's just a redheaded Kings fan.
That would be weird.
Yeah.
And then when he didn't go to games dressed as Kevin Herter after they traded him until the Kevin Herter return game when he dressed in full Kevin Herter outfit.
Yeah.
Oh, so he did do it when he returned.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey,
I wanted him to wear a Bulls jersey, but it was a Kings.
What's your favorite Kevin Herter memory? You can call us now during the lunch break, 916-339-1140, 800-920-1140. This is your segment to call in if you want to talk Sacramento Kings, Kevin Herter, everything in between. But guys, I don't think this Jonathan Kuminga thing's happening. I just think it's I just don't think it's happening.
All of this talk.
I just don't think it's happening.
For nothing.
Recent Jonathan Kuminga updates from ESPN. No recent traction, between the Kings and the Warriors on the Kuminga trade front. The Warriors are not interested in DeMar DeRozan and Malik Monk's contracts.
Oh, God.
The Warriors want an expiring deal back. They want an expiring contract for Jonathan Kuminga. And the Kings don't have any of those that are worth anything other than like Dario Saric is $5 million or Keon Ellis is like 2.3. So they don't have it. And Kuminga's paid $22 million.
Yeah.
So we're in the same spot. The Kings need to find a third team. So Kyle and I, before the show started, we were searching.
You guys were like really putting your heads together.
We were looking through at potential teams with potential names that have the contract value that could go to the Warriors, that come off the books, that the Warriors might be interested in to facilitate this trade. There's like Harrison Barnes with the San Antonio Spurs, which is funny for so many reasons. I don't think I don't think the Spurs, that's the Black Falcon sign, by the way. Harrison Barnes was known as the Black Falcon here.
I would love him back on the Warriors because Warriors fans would hate it.
Yeah, and there's no way. I don't think, like, Harrison Barnes is really good with the Spurs. He's really good there in his role. The Spurs like him a lot. So I think Harrison Barnes is not going anywhere. But in this situation, Harrison would go to the Warriors, which is hilarious, and the Spurs would either need to take DeMar DeRozan, who's been there, done that, doesn't make any sense for them, or Malik Monk, who we know has been friends with De'Aaron Fox in the past, but it's not as the same. The relationship's not the same now as it was when Malik first came to Sacramento and when they were best buddies and roommates at the University of Kentucky. And Malik Monk doesn't make any sense for the Spurs too. So I wouldn't put. I don't think that's possible.
Just, really pushing it.
It's just a numbers game.
Yeah, you could do Colin Sexton with the Hornets to send him to the Warriors. It would be the same thing. Malik or DeMar would have to go to the Hornets. Yep. There's maybe a possibility there.
But also Malik's been there, done that with the Hornets.
Yep, Yusuf, and then that didn't go well. Yusuf Nurkic with the Utah Jazz. Nurkic going to the Warriors. I don't think they'd ever want him in any way, shape, or form, even if he is an expiring deal, and that would mean DeMar or Malik to the Jazz. I think the Jazz would take either of those two players if it made sense. Like Rui Hachimura with the Lakers, the only way that works is Malik Monk going to L.A. and going back to L.A., which I think the Lakers would like Malik Monk back. They liked him a lot. They just couldn't pay him what the Kings could pay him when they lost him.
The only thing is Rui Hachimura is literally shooting 50% on corner threes for the Lakers.
I know. I'm like, I don't know if they want to part ways with Rui.
I don't think they will. The Warriors might like Rui Hachimura, but so maybe there's a possibility there, but will the Lakers play ball? Regardless, the whole point of laying this all out, Kayla, is that, like, there's just...
We're really stretching to try to make something happen.
Exactly. And this is probably what Scott Perry's been just pacing in his office trying to figure out.
And he probably has all of these possible situations.
I'm sure he has a whiteboard that is just smudged with eraser marks that he's just trying to find any which way to make this possible without doing what he should not do, which is just throw draft compensation.
And he's not going to do that.
And he's not going to.
They've already said they're not going to do a first round pick.
Yeah,
a high first round pick.
This ESPN article also just basically laid out Michael Dunleavy Jr., the GM of the Warriors, not willing to make a bad deal to appease Kuminga's request. Jonathan Kuminga's not going anywhere. I'm just
no.
Jimmy Butler goes down. Kuminga, he might want out, but they don't have to trade him. I don't know what they're going to do with his player or his team option at the end of the season. We'll get there when we get there. Right now, I think Jonathan Kuminga is going to stay a Warrior for the rest of the season, and the Warriors will just see what they can do for this year. That's what I think is going to happen.
I think the worst case scenario was that Butler got hurt. And first of all, we never seeing any players go down with injuries like that. But, I think they figure out we just have to use what we have right now. Mm-hmm. And maybe they do make another deal that benefits them a little bit, but this just makes the most sense. Even though you have a disgruntled piece to it, it doesn't matter. I feel like they're still going to make it work for now.
Yeah.
They've done it this whole time. Jonathan Kuminga has been disgruntled this whole time.
Yeah, but he's still doing his job.
Yeah, exactly, because they know he's a pro.
And at the endorsement of his teammates or the support of his teammates, he hasn't been a distraction.
Exactly.
I think it just... You're kicking the can down the road again, and I don't think anybody's happy with it, especially not Kuminga and Steve Kerr. I don't think is too thrilled with it.
No.
But I don't see a scenario where, again, unless we're waiting for shakeups to happen in general around the league, that maybe something happens that nobody's talking about out of left field.
Sure.
But every logical pathway to getting this deal done ends with the stubbornness of the Warriors saying, you can't have everything that you want. And now the Warriors want an expiring deal, but they don't want Malik Monk's contract, or they don't want DeMar DeRozan's contract, even though I think DeMar and Malik could both help the Golden State Warriors accomplish what they're trying to accomplish this year, which is make the playoffs, give them a better chance than Jonathan Kuminga, blah, 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 blah. It's just, it's too messy, and I think we're at the point where if I'm Perry, I'm like, what the deal is, I'm here, but I'm just going to pivot towards other possibilities because I don't think this is happening.
I just think it's more so than anything, and I get they want certain things, but I think the stubbornness to not do business with Sacramento.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that exactly is what it is, but I have a little bit of a feeling that it could be a big part of it.
It plays a part.
And that's come on, man. Let's just get this deal done.
I mean, Bonte Hill talked about that a lot with us.
I remember that.
There is the element of Joe Lacob doesn't want to see his baby boy Kuminga go down 80 or up 80. And
I don't think Scott Kerr would give a what.
Oh, no, Kerr's whatever.
Kerr doesn't care.
Yeah, Steve Kerr's who cares? But,
right.
Just get me Daniel Gafford.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not saying it's dead, it's over with, but I just don't think anything's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to get this reservation in general with the Sacramento Kings because Kayla, like we talked about earlier, 73% of their cap space is taken up by 4 contracts, and all 4 contracts nobody wants. And I put it out on social media and called them negative value assets.
Sure.
And a lot of people took issue with that because it suggests that like I'm
really?
saying all 4 of those players suck. That's not what I'm saying.
No.
They are all negative value assets because of their contracts,
Yes.
plus the market, plus the situation that the Sacramento Kings are in.
There's other things.
Every single team looks at the Kings and is aware of what they're trying to do, what their books look like, and how their top 4 contracts do not fit what they're trying to do. I think Malik has a chance to make it work, and that's why we've seen kind of the conversation around Malik change recently to the Kings aren't aggressively shopping him anymore.
Right.
But you best believe, I think if Scott Perry could move on from Malik at the deadline in a way that made sense, I think he's going to do it.
Yeah.
But they are negative value assets around the league because you're trying to convince a team to take them without paying them, and by paying them, I mean giving them draft capital to take these contracts off your hands.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. You're attached to. I mean, Zach LaVine is attached to such a big contract right now, and maybe if that contract was expiring or it was just a lesser number, I honestly think maybe with him there would be some movement. The DeMar DeRozan thing, again, I'll say it 15 more times. I still don't really get it. I still don't, because I think that's the hardest one for me to understand. But this, again, just is a reflection of how bad the market is right now.
Yeah, the DeMar DeRozan one is the one that I push back a little bit on Malik Monk because I think, like we've talked about, I think Malik is looked at more for his contract than who he is as a basketball player.
Yeah.
And because I think Malik Monk is a really good basketball player.
Repeat his contract again.
Malik he's owed I'm doing this off the top of my head. I think he's owed $18.5 million next year. I'm just going to look it up while I'm saying. $18.5 million next year. And then I believe he has the third year is a player option for. Oh, sorry, no, he's 18.7 this year, 20.1 next year, and then a $21.5 million player option the final year, which he's more than likely going to pick up that player option because I don't know if he's ever going to be worth that much. And speaking of player options, Zach LaVine has the chance to be a free agent this summer if he wants to be, but he has full control with a player option that's worth, I believe, basically $49 million, $48.9 million, which I think unless it's
a lot of money.
Unless it's so bad in Sacramento that we force him out, I think Zach is going to take that paycheck.
I think so too.
Again, teams are aware of this. Mm-hmm. Teams are aware of what's going on, and unless it's the desperation of the Bucks to try and convince Giannis to stay so they trade for Zach, I just don't see anything happening. So, Kayla, Kings are stuck. They're just stuck.
I feel for you, and I hope that, there's something in terms of fans. I feel for you. I hope there is something, even if it's little movement, that we can get something going here. It's going to be even more crazy if we do not see Keon Ellis, because I think he's the one guy that we keep seeing connected to trade rumors. Mm-hmm. And now there was the latest. Was it Sam Amick that put it out in terms of the interest, how many teams are interested?
Yeah, Sam, 10 different teams.
Yeah, we finally got a number on that. Because it's one thing to say, teams are interested. When we got that number last week on 10 different teams were interested, that makes me think Scott Perry is probably working closely on a few of those.
And if I'm Scott, I'm trying to get a bidding war to happen, right? It's
that's a good point.
7 teams are offering seconds. The 3 teams that are offering firsts, maybe it's and this is totally hypothetical.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the Thunder, the Knicks, and the Pistons. Okay, so those are picks that are likely going to be 28, 29, and 30. So that's the worst first-round picks you can possibly get. If it's this year's pick, for example. Or those are teams that are going to be good for a while, so their first-rounders are going to be late first-rounders, almost second-round picks. But can I get those second-round those teams that are only offering seconds to recognize that somebody is offering a first and maybe offer their more valuable first that's in the 23 to 26 range to jump up and do he's trying
That's why it's probably coming down the wire.
He's trying to get a bidding war going.
Right.
And on top of that, I still think Scott Perry would much rather use Keon on top of a DeMar DeRozan or Malik Monk or Domantas Sabonis or whatever contract to send that contract out. I think that would be more valuable to Scott Perry truly than getting a first round pick if it's 26.
100%.
I think he'd rather do that.
I think he would too. It's just I don't think those pieces are in the mix.
Keon Ellis is probably someone that should be traded at the literal deadline, like at the buzzer.
Yeah, because you're trying to get the best value.
You should be using him. The only way I move Keon Ellis before the buzzer of the trade deadline is if I know, okay, this team is taking Malik or this team is taking DeMar. Right. Okay, but they need Keon. All right, I'm getting this across the finish line. Let's do it now.
There's the sweetener.
But if that trade were there, it would be done by now. I just don't think it's there.
Me either. That's why I think we're going to have to come to the reality of it.
Stuck. I think
in the mud.
There's a very good chance at 1 o'clock in the afternoon on Thursday,
February 5th. We're going to be like getting
5th.
all excited. It's like Christmas morning. We're getting all excited.
Coal.
Coal.
Socks, underwear, and coal. That's all we're going to get here in Sacramento.
Or Kessler Edwards.
Or Kessler
Just
Edwards.
for reference, Kayla, during the Beam Team season, that was their big...
That was their big move?
It wasn't even. And honestly, I defended it at the time because that team was rolling. I didn't think they needed to make any changes. They didn't, and that team was red hot the second half of the season to make it to the playoffs, so good for them that year. It's everything after that was bad.
Yep.
Also, I think Kessler Edwards played minutes during the playoffs, like significant minutes.
And they were eliminated in the first round. Well, the entire league's just on hold for Giannis Antetokounmpo. That's the reality of the situation. We're all waiting to see what's going to happen with Giannis. Mark Spears spoke on Giannis, and he thinks Giannis's days as a Buck are done. So where are the best and worst places for him to go? We'll talk about that next.
Tonight, Kings and Knicks. Game night with Scott Marsh and the high flyer Henry Turner.
Starts at 3 with tip-off at 4:30. Listen to your Sacramento Kings.
On the official home of Kings basketball, Sactown Sports 1140.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So, then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Power Business Technology is proud to be a 100% independent, locally owned and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a Toshiba ProMasters Elite dealer since 2021. Contact us today for all of your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729. Or visit us at PowerCopiers.com.
Hey, this is Greg Papa. Are you working through a major insurance claim? SunPoint Public Adjusters can help. SunPoint prepares, presents, and negotiates your claim with the insurance company, working only for you, making sure you get everything you're entitled to, not what just some adjuster working for an insurance company thinks you should get. Call SunPoint today at 888-247-7865 or contact us at sunpoint.us. SunPoint Public Adjusters, the gold standard in public adjusting.
License number 2N14884.
Tune in every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday for the Toyota Tahoe Report with Johnny Mosley and me, Elena, bringing you the latest weather conditions up at Tahoe. Brought to you by your local Toyota dealers, Toyota. Let's go places.
Guys, feeling low energy or low drive? It could be low testosterone. At Revive Men's Health, start with a free T-check and consultation. And this month only, qualified patients may receive 25% off TRT. Book now at ReviveMen'sHealth.com. Terms apply, must medically qualify.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave. I got to tell you, I am so excited to get this decking project started with Trex Decking and Railings. From the first time I stepped foot in the showroom last week, I was so impressed. So many color options. Heat-resistant composite deck. What does that mean? That means I don't have to do any maintenance on it whatsoever. They even have a deck designer, so you can go online and see what your dream deck will look like on your house. Just visit Trex, that's TREX.com to get it started. Tell them Carmichael Dave sent you.
You ever notice how the other guys scream about massive discounts on their Dodge, Chrysler, or Jeep Ram vehicles? Then you get to the fine print and boom, another $5,200 in mandatory ads. At Hoblet, we don't insult your intelligence. The price you see is the price you pay. No mystery add-ons, no bait and switch, no gotcha when you sit down to buy. Hoblet, family owned for 77 years. Transparency, straightforward pricing. Buy it right, buy it at Hoblet.
It's Matt George and Kayla Anderson on Sactown Sports 1140.
Coming up at 1 o'clock, our own Brendan Nunes going to be joining us here from Sactown Sports, one of our great Sacramento Kings beat writers here at the station. Excited to have Brendan on the show for the first time. Brendan's been a friend of mine for a while. Does fantastic work here. So looking forward to chatting with him. Again, that's coming up at 1 o'clock. We'll get his thoughts on just how stuck the Sacramento Kings appear to be. But Mark Spears, who's a friend of the show, joined us last week. He shared that he believes Giannis Antetokounmpo has played his last game for the Bucks. Mark thinks the Giannis era in Milwaukee is over, which likely kills any chance, if there still is any left, of any Zach LaVine trade to Milwaukee. But let's talk through, well, first, and before we talk about best and worst landing destinations for Giannis.
Yep.
Milwaukee is very similar to the Sacramento Kings in so many ways in terms of a small market. They got their title there. Giannis is the best player in the history of that franchise, period. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I think as much as it's kind of ending in a sour note right now, fans have been booing Giannis a little bit and how this Bucks team has been a disaster this year and things are not going so well. It's easy for me to say on the outside, but I think we all recognize when an era is at an end.
Yeah.
And it feels like that has run its course. And I think Giannis should be able to take the hero's exit from Milwaukee. And now the Bucks just need to do right by not just him, but do right by themselves to make sure they get the haul in return. I'm not comparing De'Aaron Fox to Giannis Antetokounmpo in terms of talent level or stardom or anything like that.
Yeah, a little difference there.
But the Sacramento Kings completely botched and failed getting the assets back in a De'Aaron Fox trade that they needed to truly restart this. They completely botched it. The Bucks need to, whether it's really, really good players or really good draft compensation, they need to be able to get something back for Giannis that can turn into the next era of Milwaukee Bucks basketball that puts them maybe back in a title contention conversation 4 or 5 years from now.
I think it's got to be tough sometimes as an organization and a smaller market organization when you have the guy. When you have Giannis Antetokounmpo, who is one of the biggest stars in the game, who is one of the biggest faces in the game, and who is, by the way, helped you win a championship in a market that is smaller, like a Oklahoma City, like a Sacramento, right? And now all eyes have been, since the start, on Giannis, and he pretty much starts the whole rest of what is to be traded. Mm-hmm. Like that, the key is the piece. Mm-hmm. And we've been waiting this whole period of time and nothing has happened. So now I feel like we're coming towards the end of this. And now it's really like we got to get him out because he's extremely unhappy. He tried to play it down a little by, I feel like maybe he can't really come out and say, hey, I want to get out of here. Yeah. But he did play it down a little like, I don't know who's saying this. I don't know.
He doesn't want to be the bad guy.
He doesn't want to be the bad guy. And I get it because I really like Giannis and I don't think that's his personality.
No.
But Dims is the business. Like, this is the business. This is what is the part that's tough about pro sports is you don't want to leave a community that you helped build and helped bring life to and brought a championship to. But you have bigger aspirations, bigger goals. You might want to be closer to your family and get more on the East Coast. Mm-hmm. This is just how it is. But it's got to be tough when everyone's looking at you as an organization to make the move because you do kind of just want to make it happen. But you're right, Matt. You have to make sure that you're helping yourself in the situation.
Giannis has been more than relevant in a market like Milwaukee. So that's never really been the case. But at the same time, Giannis knows, what am I in a Miami? What am I in an LA? What am I in one of these, huge market, even more eyeballs on me, endorsement opportunities up the wazoo. Like that's what Giannis has to consider. And when looking at like best and worst destinations for Giannis, it's hard to put like personal bias aside because I don't want Giannis anywhere close to the Western Conference. If you put Giannis in the West, like
don't do that.
Stay out east, bud. Like Miami's nice. Go over there.
Yeah.
Like I
go
would,
to New York or one of the New York teams.
It's nice in Toronto this time of year.
It would be disgusting to me to have Giannis in the West for competitive purposes because the West is already such a juggernaut. But you can make the argument that the majority of teams that would be best for him and can make the best offers for him are out West. That includes the San Antonio Spurs, who I think would make perfect sense to go out and get Giannis, and they have draft picks that they can trade because they gave the Kings basically none of them in the De'Aaron Fox deal. Hell, they could even use De'Aaron Fox to get that Giannis Antetokounmpo trade done because they have Stephon Castle, they have Dylan Harper. Maybe they use one of those guys in a Giannis trade to give the Bucks a young player to potentially build around in the future. I would hate again for Giannis to come to the West, but Giannis in San Antonio next to Wemby. Good night.
Yeah.
Like, good night league. That like, even the Thunder are like, gulp, if that happens.
I'm curious, I like where you're going with the San Antonio situation. I've also looked in and heard about, like, what about the Houston Rockets?
Yep.
And look, they have draft picks.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, they have a decent team right now. Would that mess it all up, bringing in a star like Giannis, and you've already got Kevin Durant? I don't seem to think so. I think this is a big boy league. They can figure things out like that. Like, why would you not want to bring in somebody as talented as him? But I do wonder, like, could that happen? Again,
I think
not something you want to see necessarily.
I think the Rockets and the Spurs are the best cases of Western Conference teams to actually to make a bid that would make the most sense for Giannis. I mean, the Warriors, Lakers, and even the Thunder, those names will be in the hat. Those teams will be in the hat. In terms of what they can offer Milwaukee, I'm not too thrilled if I'm Milwaukee. I mean, the Thunder have the treasure trove of draft picks.
That's what I was going to say.
So if the Thunder just want to go, here's all the draft compensation on the planet and whatever matching salary we need to bring Giannis here and basically secure this dynasty winning multiple titles.
Would Giannis want to do that, though?
That's the problem. Is any team that's trading for Giannis only has him for a year and a half. And we can just assume, other than maybe the Knicks, the team that gets Giannis this year isn't going to win the championship this year just because of how much you have to give up to get him, kind of like the Luka trade situation. So Giannis is probably going to go to exactly where he wants to go, or the Bucks are going to settle on a trade.
I honestly, where I would push back, I think if the San Antonio Spurs got Giannis this season, I think the Spurs would win the title. I think because Wemby's not going in the trade. I
kind of think so too.
Wemby's not going. As long as Wemby stays healthy and Giannis stays healthy, that team wins a title. Like, that team is disgustingly good. And
I guess it depends which package you give up. Because if it's the Fox and picks package, sure. But if you have to give up Keldon Johnson and Devin Vassell and Stephon Castle and picks, then it's like.
But even so, if that's the case, then you've got a core three of Fox, Giannis, and Wemby. The team is demolishing you offensively and defensively in the paint.
Yeah.
You've got Fox's speed. Fox is a decent enough three-point shooter to space the floor with that. And if Castle's the guy that's moved there, well, Dylan Harper is still more than capable. Harrison Barnes, a savvy vet that's still part of that group. Like, that Spurs team is so stacked. If I'm the Spurs, I'm doing everything in my power to trade Giannis, because I genuinely believe, one, Giannis will want to stick around there. I think Giannis would love to play with Wemby for years. So
especially
I feel like
if they win the title.
I feel like they could operate with a lot of confidence that they'll convince Giannis to stick around.
Yeah.
Number one. Number two, it's a great organization. They've just been a great organization forever, especially when it comes to European talent.
Sure.
And number three, like, that team to me is instantly vaulted into the title favorites conversation. Like, Wemby is a freak of nature now.
Yeah.
De'Aaron Fox is in his prime,
now.
And Giannis is freaking Giannis.
Oh my God, De'Aaron is a third best player?
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you still have Dylan Harper coming off your bench. You have Harrison Barnes. Like, yes.
Champagny.
If you're the Spurs, go all in on it. Like, I'm advocating for the Spurs to do it, even though I don't want Giannis in the West. But that is the team to do it.
It makes a lot of sense. And what's so funny about this whole situation, if you've been following it with Giannis, is I think the narrative, though, is like we haven't heard as much about like a San Antonio. We haven't heard as much even about a Houston. Like it's in the mix. What we have heard is New York, New York, New York, because it's supposedly his destination of choice.
Yep.
Even though the Knicks would have the most work in terms of having to fiddle around and make things work for them to have this happen, this trade happen. It's not just easy like that.
Yeah.
Or we've heard Miami.
Yeah.
Those are the two major ones that we've heard.
That is the
narrative.
That is the Eastern Conference chance.
Exactly.
If you're asking me who am I rooting for, it's both of those
Eastern
teams.
Conference.
I would love to see him go win a title with the New York Knicks and Mike Brown, my boy
Right.
Mike Brown. I just don't know what the New York Knicks can really offer.
That's the thing.
The Knicks give more win now talent in terms of a trade back than like building for the future talent. And the Knicks already have sent a bunch of their draft picks out for other trades like the Michael Bridges trade and stuff like that. So, I mean, they could do Karl Anthony Towns. Why in the world would the Milwaukee Bucks want to take Karl Anthony Towns? Like, it just, I don't think the Knicks have enough to really be contenders in that sense. The Miami Heat, interesting.
That's interesting.
But again, if I'm the Bucks, the Spurs are giving me the best haul that I could possibly have. And if I'm the Spurs, I'm winning a title with Giannis.
And Wemby and Fox.
Giannis should go to San Antonio. The Spurs,
I kind of
they
like
have the
more we
ability.
talk about it.
They and the Thunder are the teams that have the ability to put the offer you can't refuse on the table.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them needs to do it at some point. But maybe one of them feels like they don't need to because they can get him for less. We'll see. But the Giannis Antetokounmpo situation.
Is it a summer thing? I don't know.
It might be. It's fascinating. We have a Tay on the line. Tay, I'm going to get to you right after the break. Plus, there's an interesting story when it comes to the World Cup here in the United States. I don't know what the fan response is going to be here in the USA given everything that's going on. We'll talk about that briefly as well. Coming up on Matt and Kayla, Sactown Sports.
Tonight, Kings and Knicks.
Tip-off at 4:30. Your exclusive home for Kings basketball.
Is Sactown Sports 1140.
Celebrate the new year in style with a new Honda from Stockton Honda. Whether you're shopping new or pre-owned, Stockton Honda has the selection and savings. With new Hondas in stock and ready to go, now is the time to save on your favorite Honda in person or online. CR-V, HR-V, Pilot, Accord, Civic, and Ridgeline. It's a new year with endless possibilities. Get the deals that make it easy to say yes. Upgrade and save today at Stockton Honda.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave here for Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room, inviting you to come join them every Wednesday for their midweek madness drawing, giving away $2,000 in total cash starting at 6 p.m. It's a safe and friendly environment, plenty of well-lit parking available, and it's conveniently located right there in downtown Sacramento. And remember, best food, best service, best games, 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento. For more information, log on to capital-casino.com and gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you can choose the best coverage option for you. Because you know you. Like, you know that hiking isn't for you. Sure, it sounds nice to be in nature while exercising, but that's what a gym and houseplants are for. I mean, you don't even like walking upstairs. So why would you walk up a hill for miles? To what, end up high in the air? Come on, you know you're scared of heights. Only you know you. So get coverage options within your budget with Progressive's Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Pricing coverage match limited by state law.
Welcome to guided meditation. Close your eyes. You're at the beach. The seagulls are calling. You take out your iPhone 16e you got from Cricket and use Apple Intelligence to clean up that selfie you just took. It's a good one. You send it to your friends instantly thanks to reliable nationwide 5G. They're totally jealous. Get iPhone 16e for $49.99 when you switch. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Requires new line on the Supreme Unlimited plan. First service charge and tax due at sale. $25 activation fee. Terms and restrictions apply. Cricket 5G is not available everywhere. See store for details.
You remember me from a show called And Joe? I'm back on the radio, Sacramento. It's Joe Mami, and when you need your new country fix, join me weekdays from 6A to 10 for the Pat and Cody with Joe show on New Country 105.1 KNCI or on the free KNCI app.
Matt and Kayla on Sactown Sports 1140.
Brendan Nunez from Sactown Sports, our Kings beat writer. He's going to join us at the top of the 1 o'clock hour, get his thoughts on my conclusion today that the Kings are just stuck. They're just stuck.
I'm like just imagining, have you ever gotten stuck in the mud or the snow? You're like, your wheels are just going, like spinning. You're just going nowhere.
Yeah, and it feels like quicksand sometimes with the Kings as well.
Right.
And I'll be honest with you, I'm not giving Scott Perry an out or a pass by any means, Kayla. If he does not pull off more than just a Keon Ellis trade at the deadline, I am going to be disappointed. I am going to be frustrated because ultimately you're judged on your ability to close deals and make stuff happen.
Yeah.
But I'm also saying that knowing full well about the climate and the situation that he inherited, and he was put into a messy situation that I don't know. I don't know if he's going to be able to work his way out of. We might have to wait till the summertime, and patience is not something that is running wild through this Kings organization right now. Tay joins us here on Matt and Kayla. Tay, thanks for holding over the break. How are you?
Hey, Matt. I'm good. Hey, Kayla. Thank you guys for taking my call.
No problem, Tay. What's going on?
Yeah, so I want to get both of your opinions on Domantas Sabonis. I will give my opinion first. I know he's been in trade rumors with different teams like Raptors and Warriors and other teams around the league, and I think there's a reason for that. You know, he's a 3-time NBA All-Star. He should have really been a 5-time if he didn't get robbed by Jaren Jackson Jr.
I agree.
He made the All-NBA third team while he was actually with the Kings twice in 23 and 24, and also a 3-time rebounding leader as well, while he was also with the Kings. So, I think he's still a top 10 center in the league, and I don't think we should be too quick to trade him. I think the fan base, for the majority part, thinks that we should part ways with Sabonis just for the change, just for sake of change, and also because he doesn't protect the rim. That's why you bring in guys like Cardwell to complement Sabonis. I think Sabonis is the piece that we should move forward with, especially with the fact that, Matt, as you mentioned yesterday, if we don't get top 3 picks, in this year's lottery draft, we're going to be stuck without a star. So I think every NBA team needs a star, and we shouldn't be so quick to, try to trade Sabonis unless it is a legitimate package that we get in return. I think he should still be part of the Kings' future, given that he's still a top 10 center in the league. And if you pair him with the, Peterson or DeBonsa, if we get lucky in the draft, I think this team is going to have a very solid core moving forward.
Tay, thank you so much for the call. He makes a lot of good points there. The thing with Sabonis that the Kings have to be aware of or monitor, because I think there is a lot of what Tay said, there is an agreement inside that organization. Yeah. I don't think the Kings have a problem whatsoever with continuing with Sabonis being here, also because more than likely that's going to be the case anyway, so get used to it.
It is what it is, yeah.
But the issue is Sabonis a complementary piece, or is he the centerpiece going forward? And that's where there might be a disconnect, because not only is Sabonis not a good centerpiece to build around or rebuild around because of how specific you need to build around him and how that limits you and tightens up the talent that you need that you have the availability to go out and get during this rebuild. If he's your second piece, you're paying him almost $50 million. And it's going to be very difficult to bring in the pieces that you want, pay the pieces that you want when you're paying that much money to a player who's not your number one guy, and who players like Dylan Cardwell and Maxime Raynaud are proving that maybe you don't need to pay that much money to have success at the center position.
That's the complicated part, because I get what Trey is saying in terms of just the basics of he is still a talented center. Yes, it's different. He's a different center compared to some others, but he still is valuable and valuable in the league as a center. But in terms of right now and working with what they're trying to do for the future, like right now, this year, okay, fine, because there's not probably much going to change. Yeah. Especially because none of these pieces are really going to be moved, it looks like. But if we're going to start moving towards what does this team look like in the future, the biggest thing is exactly that. You're not going to probably build around Sabonis. And so the other part to that, too, is yes, you're paying him to be that. But now, we brought this up, are you a hostage or are you a volunteer? So now you have that whole thing coming from Sabonis's viewpoint. Like, I don't want to be just a piece. I want to be the centerpiece, or at least I'm getting paid to be that. So that's what you also have to think about, too, for the future is like, is he happy with what that is?
Is the money that Sabonis is making enough for him to be content with over the next year or however long the Kings view him here until his contract gets closer to running out or his value around the league improves? Is he comfortable with playing for a team and investing in a team that maybe he's the best player right now, but he knows he's not looked at in that way, looked at in the future? And especially if, like Tay talked about, if the Kings win the lottery and they get Peterson or they get AJ DeBonsa, like,
you can play through them.
Domas, you're the best player on the team right now, even with those guys coming here. But nobody in this city is looking at you as the top guy. Everyone's looking at that rookie that they brought in as that is the future star. And Domas, your job is to complement them and put them in a position to succeed and help them develop as much as possible. Will Sabonis be okay with that?
Right.
I don't think so, because I know how competitive that he is. I'm not saying he has to be the number one guy. We saw him be fine being number 2 to De'Aaron Fox when this Kings team was winning.
But that was then.
They ain't going to win anytime soon either, Kayla. So.
Right. It's an interesting situation, but a great question by Trey. And I do appreciate his points made, because I do think sometimes when we talk about him, it sounds like maybe we're undervaluing him.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's a weird situation that he's in, and with this team in particular.
We'll ask Brendan Nunez about this and more when he joins us in the 1 o'clock hour. But before we get to that, branching away to a FIFA and World Cup conversation. The World Cup is coming to the United States. Very excited about it, although I don't know, Kayla, if you've seen the matches at Levi Stadium. They're not.
Yeah.
They're not the best.
Not the best.
They're not the best. But I'm not super surprised by that. Regardless, obviously, as we know, and we use this show and we use sports as an escape for everything that's going on, but we are in a very politically charged, sensitive kind of landscape right now around the country. And you have now the former president of FIFA, Sepp Blatter, saying, I think that's how you pronounce his name, last name Blatter, Blatter, essentially calling for fans, international fans, to stay away from the World Cup in the United States because of everything that's going on politically and the policies from our president Donald Trump and everything that's going on. Basically, like, strongly encouraging people that it's not a very welcoming place right now for anyone internationally. There are going to be hurdles. There are going to be struggles for you to even get here to follow your team. Some countries that are participating in the World Cup, they have their fans legally are not able to come to the country to watch them play unless they have pre-designated visas. All stuff that's out of my pay grade, if I'm being completely honest with you. But the way I read this story and the way I put myself into the position of this story is if I were a United States soccer fan and the World Cup was in England and England was going through and things were happening in England that are very similar to what's happening here in the United States, how comfortable and how safe would I feel, not just with myself, but with my wife, with my family, traveling to watch my soccer team play in a tournament for a couple weeks? I don't blame anybody who's looking at what's happening right now and going, you know what? The World Cup in the USA is supposed to be huge, but everything going on, plus the ridiculous ticket prices for these matches.
Gosh. The ticket prices are insane, like thousands of dollars.
Like this World Cup might flop.
I'm upset for, especially, I'm not the biggest soccer fan, I'll admit it. I enjoy it. It's a good sport. It's not at the top of my list, but when we have an opportunity as close as we do to go to World Cup matches, like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And we don't get that access very often. But I understand, like, it's kind of a nerve-wracking situation for those who maybe have to come here, like you said, and travel and the expenses, it's part of it. So I don't know how great the atmosphere will be in some of these spots. And there's a lot here on the West Coast, Seattle, Portland, Santa Clara. Like, there's a lot of them over here too.
Yeah.
And I just don't know what to expect from what is always an incredible atmosphere in the World Cup to watch. I can't tell you what it will look like. I know we'll have U.S. fans there, absolutely. But will it be what we get in a true kind of, atmosphere where we have all these different countries? I don't know.
We'll have U.S. fans there as long as they're willing to pay the ridiculous costs that's going to take to get into these games. I mean,
why do we got to make it so expensive?
But that's this country. That's the United States. That's the financial landscape that we live in, to where like people were joking right now that like the Kings, you can go to Costco and buy a pair of Upper Bowl tickets.
Those are selling at Costco
for $60. That's not even a good deal. Like $60 is not anything to bat an eye at, and plus that doesn't include parking.
For the full family too.
That doesn't include the pay. If you're doing a family of 4, you're paying $120 just to get in the door. Plus again, parking and food and everything like that. Like the reality is, being a sports fan is more and more expensive. Period. Yeah. And not only do the American fans, if they want to just go see these international stars play in person in one of these massive stadiums like MetLife Stadium on the East Coast or the Levi Stadium here on the West Coast, not only do you have to pay an arm and a leg to get there, but the international fans who have to figure out how to afford, because the dollar is a lot further here than it is over there. Like, I just don't think this is going to look great for the U.S. I think this World Cup is going to end up being more of a smear in the history of the USA than it is a positive, and that shouldn't be the case.
Yeah, I won't be watching it in any stadium, that's for sure, because I don't have the funds to do that. But I will watch it, and hopefully, it doesn't flop. But yeah, right now it doesn't look like it's set up to exactly succeed in the way that it should.
Mm-hmm.
Matt, I'm a little disappointed in you, because I, for one, am excited to watch Austria versus Jordan at Levi Stadium.
At Levi Stadium?
Lock in,
on
man.
June 6th.
Lock in. And look, the quality of this soccer is ginormous. I just mean we're not getting
the biggest,
Germanys. Yeah. We're not getting the superstars. Certainly not getting Argentina or Puerto Rico. Who am I thinking?
The soccer juggernaut.
Mexico.
No. Oh my God! It's freaking shame on me for not Portugal. Jeez Louise, Matt. Why did that take so long to get
Soccer juggernaut Puerto Rico.
Hey, you never know. Trinidad and Tobago defeat or stop the USA from making the World Cup last time. So.
Matt, any chance you can get to watch Paraguay versus TBD at the World Cup?
Hey,
you gotta do it.
To be determined.
Who is getting all the biggies?
I mean,
do we know?
A lot of the East Coast, like we know MetLife Stadium's going to house a ton of huge ones. Miami's going to get a ton of huge ones.
I'm very ignorant on this, but I think the closest Messi is coming is either Kansas City or Seattle. I can't remember which one.
Seattle's going to get a ton of big ones on the West Coast. Plus, remember, Mexico and Canada are also sharing hosting responsibilities as well. So it's not all based in the United States. And again, this is not meant to be, like, I just want to make sure this is very clear, because, again, it's above my pay grade. This is not meant to be a political conversation.
No.
This is a opportunity in, like, USA soccer is one of many sports, and it's not number one. It's not close to number one.
It needs help.
Internationally, the World Cup in some countries shuts the country down. Like, it's when their club is playing, that's all. When Brazil is playing, Brazil is closed. They are locked into wherever Brazil is playing, which is also not at Levi Stadium. So this is
you do get Algeria versus Jordan.
Hooray!
Oh God!
This is an opportunity for the USA, who has everything's already built. We already have everything that we need, the hotel, everything, except it's so damn expensive, and everything right now is so ugly in this country right now that it just. I don't think it's going to end up looking good, and that bothers me, because I've been looking forward to the World Cup coming to the United States for over a decade from when it was last announced. This is an opportunity to really enjoy international soccer here, and it's going to be, I think, plagued by these outside of the pitch storylines.
What's the time again for the summer? I
think it starts in
June and July.
Yeah, June.
Okay,
yeah,
so
late June.
and it's a great time too to have not a lot of other things distracting you sports wise.
Sorry, baseball.
Because you got baseball, but how many games come on, guys? They play like a game every other day or every day. Excuse me. So it is a good time to kind of have people watch and focus on soccer, which is a great sport. But what are we going to see in person? What is it going to be like in person? I have no clue.
I just hope it's not just let's focus on soccer. Let's just keep it about soccer and let it be that international soccer tournament that everybody loves and nothing else that's happening on the side. When we come back to start the final hour of the show, Brendan Nunez from Sactown Sports, our Kings beat writer, joins us. That's coming up next.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/deal for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
Big savings are back at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Looking to own or lease? We have options for everyone. Plus, lower interest rates at Folsom Lake Honda make for lower payments. It's no wonder Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Get an instant cash offer for your trade at FolsomLakeHonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not.
Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Injured and you're considering an LA law firm looking to charge you 45% to 50% in attorney's fees? That's overcharging. Ashton & Price has been around for over 25 years, and I can tell you no matter how complicated your injury case, you should never be charged 45% or 50% in attorney's fees ever. Direct, experienced, unrelenting, and honest local representation matters. It's called Home Court Advantage for a reason. Ashton & Price serious local attorneys for serious people with serious injuries. So for the best local advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton & Price.
Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Here's Frank LaRosa.
As another new year begins, I'm reflecting on all that has happened. I'm filled with gratitude for the Golf to Go show guests who've trusted us with their time, their thoughts, and their dreams. People like putter magician Scotty Cameron, First Tee's Angie Dixon, former football great Peyton Manning, LPGA legend Nancy Lopez, the heralded team at Hagen Oaks like Ken Morton Jr., Tom Morton, PGA Golf to Go's resident on-air playing coach, and Mike Woods, PGA Director of Golf, and all the PGA professionals and guests who've educated and informed us over last year's 52 shows. Thanks also to you, our loyal listeners, who are there every week with compliments and suggestions when we might get a bit off track. Thanks also to the game that brings us all together. Thanks to the millions of men, women, boys, and girls who play the game. Thanks to the able-bodied, and thanks also to the programs that nurture those in need of a lift, like the California Eagles, PGA Hope, and many more. We are fortunate for our world-class golf and to have lived life and had a chance to play the game. That's your Golf to Go. I'm Frank LaRosa.
Card collectors know there's nothing as special as a rare one-of-one card. And now you can hear a very rare one-of-a-kind sports card show right here on Sactown Sports. Whitey Gleason here inviting you to join me and Mr. True Sports Cards himself, Imran Pilati, for the True Sports Card Show every Saturday morning at 10 on Sactown Sports. It's the only sports card radio show in the nation. For all your hobby needs, get to True Sports Cards, 6661 Stanford Ranch Road in Rockland. And for hobby, insight, and fun, join us for the True Sports Card Show Saturday mornings at 10 on Sactown Sports.
KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sactown Sports 1140. Matt and Kayla on Sactown Sports 1140.
So, fun fact about this beat. It's a great beat.
Yes,
but
it is.
Back in high school, or no, it was early college, I worked at Target. Okay. I worked in the electronics.
Yeah.
Jesus, English.
You
Matt.
worked in the electric
I worked
department.
in the electricity.
You were the electric?
I was the electrician. That's why I didn't last very long. I electrocuted myself.
You got shocked?
I shut down Target and a whole block next to it. No, I worked in the electronics, and which was also responsible for toys. It was all lumped in. And let me tell you, reorganizing toy aisles at a Target after a bunch of little minions come through and just rampage it and throw all the Hot Wheels around.
pass.
Hell no.
I'll pass.
But that beat was the beat that they played on one of their ads that went over the TV over and over
I
and
remember.
over and over and over again. Like it did not stop.
So it was always in your head.
All day long. And it's amazing how well you're able to start to tune things out, especially as a parent. Like you can just tune out your kid's voice after a while. But that beat will always haunt me because of
You just got it again.
the hours upon hours of organizing toy aisle with that beat playing on the TV.
Mariah Carey's Fantasy.
On 30 TVs.
Well, that was the remake.
Oh, no. Look, that's how old I am. Sorry.
Yeah, that was the remake by Lotto, whereas Brendan called it Sabrina Carpenter one time.
Oh, Brendan Nunez joining us now. Brendan knows nothing about music, knows nothing about movies, knows nothing about anything outside of really video games, right, Brendan? But that's okay, because when the show comes out, you won't see me on this show anymore, Kayla, because Brendan and I will be up in the middle of the night playing MLB The Show, the video game, when it comes out, which, by the way...
Of course you will be.
They dropped more information about Aaron Judge, the cover athlete, so we're very excited about that. Now Brendan joins us here.
Frankie, Aaron Judge.
Aaron Judge, Frankie Cardicelli. But Brendan Nunez here with us on Sactown Sports. Brendan, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. Shout out Kyle, because I still thought that was Sabrina Carpenter. Clearly, I've made this mistake before and was very curious about how 3 times. That makes sense. I was very curious how you heard this when, in my mind, this was a new song. But I swear I know music, and it must be a sample. I will educate myself over time.
It is a sample of Mariah Carey, which is itself also a sample.
Brendan literally, like...
I'm just looking for the nearest 2-lane drive-through.
Hey, don't listen. I just calmed down.
Yeah.
I just calmed down.
Chris
Don't
has a
again.
great social clip that's about to go out for you, just so you know.
Oh, great. Wonderful. Can't wait for
Another crash out.
Can't wait for that to drop. Brendan, another thing I might crash out about is on trade deadline day. It looks like the likelihood that it's going to be a pretty quiet day. Not just for Sacramento, potentially around the league, unless something drops with this Giannis Antetokounmpo situation going on. But Brendan, it seems like we're just staring a Keon Ellis trade, and that's pretty much it in the face, because the King 73% of the cap space is taken up by the top 4 contracts. And as much as Kings fans don't like to hear it because it sounds insulting to the players, all 4 of those assets right now, according to the league, are negative value assets. So I'm not going to give Scott Perry the pass for not making trades, because he definitely needs to make some, like, he's judged based off the deals that he's able to get done. But he inherited a mess, and maybe it's even messier than we thought it was.
Yeah, that seems to be the case. I mean, I think that, to your point, it's going to be curious to see what the value of these guys around the league is, because we know that they're shopping everyone. I think if it were up to the Kings, they would move everybody. But also, they're not trying to attach draft capital to move off from any of these contracts. I think that's definitely not the case. And they're not trying to take back more salary than what they're giving out in a deal, right? If I'm getting rid of DeMar DeRozan, I don't want somebody that has next year fully guaranteed as well, unless it's a Jonathan Kuminga and we feel like they're part of our future, for example. But I mean, I think that you're on point there. I think that Keon is certainly the one that you look at and wonder of, hey, a team can acquire him without giving up any assets because he's on a minimum deal. So can you get some decent draft capital for that? I think DeMar DeRozan is the other one that I think should have. Some teams should be interested. I stop myself from saying value because I think that we all understand that it's hard to gauge where his level of value is. But I think that if the Kings were in a scenario where they had more close games, you would see the value of him being a closer more often. It's been very rare throughout the course of this season. And so he's putting up good numbers. I know most people aren't like this. I don't think the Warriors are actually using this logic, but in my mind, DeMar makes a lot of sense on the Warriors now that Jimmy went down. Like, what about these games where Steph isn't playing, for example? You know, and I think that you could use the same logic in Milwaukee. When Giannis does not play, that team sucks.
Yeah.
And having another go-to guy, I think, could be valuable. So it is going to take just another team be willing to tango. You know, that's how this all goes down. But I do think for the most part, they're going to be attempting to move everybody. I think Dennis Schroeder's not talked about very much in this conversation. I think Dennis is very much on the market, and there were teams that wanted to sign him this offseason. The issue is that they didn't want to pay what the Kings were willing to pay. And now, obviously, they would have to inherit that contract. So I think it won't be for a lack of trying, but the two I'm certainly looking at are maybe 3 between Keon, DeMar, and Dennis.
Brendan Nunez, kind enough to join us here on Matt and Kayla this afternoon. So let's just say worst case scenario, Brendan, it is only like a Keon Ellis situation where we see him moved and you still have all of these vets that take up minutes that don't allow you to kind of move forward more so in the rebuild. What do you think we're going to see here?
I mean, more of the same, unfortunately. Like, I think that there isn't really a reason to rush in my mind. I think part of the reason and logic I have for why DeMar is a valuable piece is not only what he does on the floor, but only $10 million of his contract is guaranteed next season. So if somebody were to trade for him, then next offseason, you could reroute him again to a team that is in a tough salary cap situation. And all of a sudden, $15 million of his contract is just no longer on the table if they're willing to trade him. But point being, the Kings could have the benefit of that this offseason as well, right? Zach LaVine becomes easier to move, probably not easy, but easier all relatively than he is right now when one more year is off that contract. You could say the same thing about Malik Monk, Dennis Schroeder, Domantas Sabonis. So while it certainly would be a little bit of an eye roller and a headache to watch more of the games that we've watched throughout this entire season, I do think there is some logic in these guys should, keyword, get easier to move as they get further into their contract.
Brendan, I think it's pretty clear that within the walls of the Kings organization, even if they like Keon Ellis, they don't value him nearly as much as the fan base does. And I think there's just this belief or this feeling from Scott Perry and his group that some hearts might need to be broken in terms of fan favorites being traded and moved in order to get done what needs to get done or put this team on the path to actually being relevant and being a good basketball team, hopefully at the end of this rebuild a few years down the road. But how much do you think the Sacramento Kings will end up, or rather maybe it's less the Kings and more the Kings fan base, regretting or feeling the sting of Keon being moved to probably a team that's going to be playing at the very least in the playoffs where he should be able to contribute to?
It's a weird one with Keon because I hate being the guy that is like, well, he's not as good as everybody thinks, but I do think that is kind of the reality a little bit here. And this is coming from the guy that I swear I was one of the first people to be like, hey, this two-way player playing in Stockton is pretty good. Like I love Keon and what he brings to the court, but he can't guard Luka, for example, right? Like he does have some size disadvantages. And when everybody makes of his defense, I very much get it. I think off the ball, he's a menace. He mucks up the game. He gets deflections and he creates turnovers. On the ball, he's not great at keeping his guy in front of him. I think it's more recovery. And after somebody gets past him, he's going to try to poke the ball from behind, or he's going to try to recover and get a block. And I think that the defensive aspect of him, while it is phenomenal, is very strictly on ones and twos. And there's not that much switchability there. So I think it is a little bit, I think Keon could get a little bit overvalued at times. There's not much ability to put the ball on the floor. You don't want him to bring the ball up the court. I think there were examples, and he's gotten better at this, but there were examples early on of him having 8-second violations because they're trying to get him to bring the ball up the court. And you're seeing them do that less because I don't think there has been that much progress in that aspect. So a long way of saying I think he may be slightly overvalued by the Kings fan base when it comes to, hey, we want to keep this future piece that we think is going to be a core member. You're fine being a fifth starter on a team. And I just think that's the reality of what we're talking about with Keon. Maybe a great 6th, 7th player, for example, but he's going to look really good on one of these championship teams. And I think that's why a first-round pick is within the realm of conversation, because we're probably talking about a pick in the late 20s. And again, he's on a minimum salary. So as much as everybody made a big deal, myself included, of them turning down his option, or more so picking up his option this offseason and the value that may have led them to, or the point it led them to, if they're able to get a late first-round pick or multiple second-rounders, in my mind, that's a good outcome and a good way to go about your asset management.
We're talking Kings with our own Brendan Nunes here at Sactown Sports. All right, so Matt brought this up yesterday. We talked about Devin Carter and, the lack of play that we've seen out of him this year. He's just not playing. What do you think the plan is for Devin, and will we see any more of him if there are some pieces moved?
I think that we're kind of seeing the plan for Devin, unfortunately. I imagine that if he was in the plans, that he would be out there. Doug Christie loves the word logjam when talking about this guard position. I can't tell you how many times we've heard him say that. And that's very much what is going on here and why it participates in why he's not able to get minutes. But I think for the most part, every impression we've gotten is it just doesn't seem like they think he's good, because you would play the guy if you thought so. You know, I heard you guys talking about the Rising Stars game a little bit earlier. And of course, we're just all looking at the rookies. I look at the sophomores a little bit and I'm like, you know, their only sophomore is Devin Carter. And the guy, or are we in year 3? Actually, I could be having this wrong.
This year 2.
But anyways, yeah, year 2.
Seems like 5.
And we don't know. We don't know. He has not played. He's played 504 minutes in his NBA career. Now, I trust that, at least assume that they have seen bad things in practice, right? And that's the reason that he's not out there. Has to be. To exactly what you're saying, Matt. Has to is certainly the correct wording, because what the heck? You're a team that sucks, to be blunt, and you're not playing one of your young talents that has some sense of upside, or at least, hey, let's figure out what this guy can be. You know, it feels a little bit like he's going to go somewhere else, and maybe he's going to get some run, maybe he's not. I don't think this is a Colby Jones, you know, where he's going to go to Washington and not play and absolutely disappear. Shout out Frankie Cardicelli. Like, I think that there is at least potential for something more. And given the way that this season is gone, I am certainly pro throwing him out there. But I also understand that, hey, say that that's the case, that probably means that one of Keon or Malik are not playing that given night. And we're going to sit here and you guys are going to ask me about what the heck's going on with one of those guys not playing. So I get Doug's dilemma with the logjam a little bit, but I do think that, hey, you're not a good team. This is one of your young players that could be something. Why not throw them out there? But I just assume that they've seen it. They've seen enough traumatizing things in practice for that not to be the case.
Well, Brendan, a night like tonight is the perfect night to do it because Zach LaVine's out, Malik Monk is out. We know Keegan Murray's been out. Like, now is the time, a theory where you've got so many bodies out. Hey, throw Devin Carter out there against the Knicks and see what happens. But I feel like Doug McDermott is going to get the opportunity tonight. Am I wrong?
No, I mean, I think that's probably what I would assume.
Yeah.
Maybe not Doug, or maybe even it's, you know, some of these other guys at the end of the roster. Maybe it's just Precious gets more minutes.
Yeah.
Dylan gets more minutes, you know. I think that we've seen Doug over the last roughly 20 games or so lean more towards size, right? When Doug McDermott started playing was the sign of this to me. I was like, oh, Malik is getting DNPs and we're playing Doug, huh? Like that's the way that we're going to go about this. I think Dario Saric played a couple games in Portland, if I'm remembering correctly. And so I think that Doug has leaned more into a preference of size and having some semblance of that. You know, I'm not very much a subscriber to Keegan Murray needs to play the 3. Like, you hear this conversation all the time. To me, I think that the reason they're saying that is because you just need more size next to him, right? It's not about Keegan playing any differently when he's at the 3. I think it's that lineup wise, and what we want to create is having Keegan be our 3rd tallest player, for example, right? And having another guy in between the level of him and Domas or whatever the future center may be. And so I tend to agree with you, Matt. I think that we probably would see more of these bench guys before Devin Carter gets some run.
Here comes McBuckets.
McBuckets
He's coming.
I was waiting for that.
Doug told me he cannot Dougie, by the way.
I shockingly.
Come on, Doug. I mean, Brock Purdy can do it.
Yeah, but Brock has a little swagger to him. I don't blame.
He's just got good hair.
That's like if
McDermott,
Doug McDermott Dougieing is like if Matt George were to Dougie. But at
well,
least
now Matt George is going to have to Dougie.
At least Doug has good hair.
You know who I know can Dougie? Dylan Cardwell. There's no way he can't Dougie.
Dylan.
And that was my question.
Dylan can do anything.
I mean, not that he can Dougie, but how and what I should say, how impressive you've been with this little stretch of Dylan. But what do you still need to see here with this later second half of the season from him to say, hey, I could see him in the future really being a rotational player?
I think it's just, this is a vague way to answer this, but it's kind of just more progress with everything, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think the rebounding that we've seen is certainly a step. This is a guy that averaged 5 rebounds in college, and he's put together some double doubles. I think that limiting his fouls is a big part of this. It's certainly something that you love his willingness to protect the rim and how committed he is to doing that, hey, if I get a whistle, that's not going to stop me from doing that just because I'm at 5 fouls. But I think it's the, reaching in, the little ticky-tacky ones that could be avoided that are going to be the difference of what caliber of player he really is. And the big thing for determining where he's going to end up in the NBA is really just what can you do on offense?
Yeah.
Because right now the answer is, you can relocate around the dunker spot. I think his off-ball movement is solid, but he's dunking the ball every time.
Yep.
And that's fine. That's fine. There are players like that, right? When I try and think of what sort of comp we're talking about, and this is high-end outcome, I don't think that we are currently at this point, is like a Tyson Chandler, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the other part that goes into that is just the screen setting and how capable and effective you are as a screener. I think that that's something that we've seen mixed results from him and Maxime Raynaud. I think it's one of the more undersung parts of this season is that honestly, these guys are not very good at setting screens. And Domas certainly is. It's something that they can learn over time. I think that's very much an NBA learning curve. But for the most part, I do think that can your offense be something decently effective, even if it's just screen setting and rolling to the rim and being able to not be horrible from the free throw line? Matt knows this. Every time he takes free throws, I can't help but sit there and record them because I am waiting for a horrible miss.
Brendan pulls the phone out immediately.
Sure,
as soon as Dylan Cardwell steps to the line, Brendan
go.
is locked in.
I can't help it. He gets fouled, and I'm hyped back there.
It's like a guilty
let's
pleasure.
Go, let's see this. Yeah. But I do think that there has been a lot of progress. And I'll tell you, there was a game maybe within the last 5 or so where he hit a couple hook shots back during this home stretch. And that stood out to me because I remember sitting there in practice and watching him work. I remember specifically with BJ Armstrong, assistant general manager, right? Former player, sitting working on his hook shots and all this around the basket touch game. And to be honest with you, I never posted this intentionally because it was really, really bad. Like missing everything. So that's why that game stood out. There was one he did with the left, one with the right. Matt, you've mentioned this, but I think he's made more progress from the beginning of the season to now than probably any player on the Sacramento Kings.
Oh, for sure.
So I think that in itself is an encouraging sign for his future. There's still certainly a lot of things that need to go well, and I think we could be getting a little bit ahead of ourselves with this Maxime Raynaud, Dylan Cardwell hype. But it's also, what we should hold on to throughout the course of this entire season.
Give us something, Brendan.
Progress.
Give us something.
There's progress that needs to be made before I'm like, hey, this guy is 100% an NBA player.
We got Brendan Nunez joining us, Sactown Sports' Kings insider, Kings beat writer. And Brendan's right, by the way. We do overhype, but we can't help it during this freaking god-awful season. Dylan Cardwell has given us life, that's for sure. Kings and Knicks tonight, part 2. Brendan, is there any emotional charge left over for the Mike Brown stuff, or has that played its course now that he's returned to Sacramento and the Kings beat him? I have to imagine if there's emotional charge, it's from the Knicks side of things because they want to get a little bit of revenge for how bad that game was. But from the Sacramento perspective, is that over and done with in your mind?
I mean, maybe Keon feels a type of way. That would be the only one, is if Keon's out there. Maybe I would also argue that him trying to do too much maybe will not play into his style of game and exactly what you want to see, but I could be wrong. I think that for the most part it's probably over. And what you mentioned, that there's not that many players on Sacramento's roster that are still here, honestly, which is kind of crazy. A decent amount of turnover, and I think it'll be more so that the Knicks are trying to get some sort of revenge or get back for getting just blown out in Sacramento to a team that's not very good. You'd imagine that a team flirting with being towards the top of the East is slightly offended by that and trying to even the series.
Sabonis is playing tonight, though, and in terms of Keon Ellis, I feel like the New York Knicks should be one of those teams in the mix to try and bring Keon Ellis in, because regardless of Mike and Keon's past, like, the Knicks could use Keon, and Keon played his best basketball under Mike. So, I don't know. That might be something to keep an eye on, too.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I think that Keon's, again, a guy that a lot of championship teams could like. And Matt, I know you've talked to him just as much. I think that Mike actually liked Keon.
He did.
As funny as that is.
He did.
Like, Mike will tell you, like, hey, I'm the one that gave this guy a chance.
Yes.
He was a two-way player.
And there were people in the organization that didn't want Mike to give him that chance. People don't talk about that. Mike gave him the opportunity.
100%. 100%. So I think there's more love there than people really realize.
Right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think so. You got to balance, what the people above you want as well in all of this. And so I think it's just a little bit of a weird situation with everything that went down with Keon. But yeah, certainly a team that I think could use him. I think that they were also one of the teams that was interested in Dennis Schroeder in the offseason before he ended up signing with the Kings. Now, when you try and look at their salaries, they're in a really tough spot. And that's where you get to the point of I think it would have to be Mitchell Robinson. And I don't think that would be part of the conversation. I think the Knicks are doing anything they can to trade for more win now pieces that will help them for Gershon Yabusele. That's the contract that we're really talking about, right? And I don't think that Dennis fits into that, for example. Maybe Keon does, more so. Definitely does salary-wise. But, yeah, I think one of those teams to keep some tabs on a little bit. And I also got to say, Mike beating Jordy, Knicks, Nets by 50 points the other day was just rude.
Yes.
That was
not nice to do to your former guy. Brendan, before we let you go, because you can back me up on this really quick, because I want to address this from the Sactown Sports comment line from PE Time. He says, Mike was forced to give Keon a chance. Let's be on the up and up. No, that is completely not true. Mike is the one that lobbied for Keon to get his first chance. Remember, Mike started Keon against the Thunder in an NBA Cup game in place of the injured De'Aaron Fox. There were members of the organization that wanted Mason Jones to get that opportunity over Keon Ellis, and Mike was the one that gave Keon that opportunity. So let's be on the up and up with what's really going on. Mike was not anti-Keon. He was always pro-Keon, gave Keon that opportunity. He just wasn't willing to give Keon as long of a leash as guys like De'Aaron and Domantas Sabonis, which he talked about openly. And now you have Doug Christie, who is in theory a Keon Ellis coach who still doesn't play Keon Ellis. So if you want to be on the up and up, get that part of history right with the Kings and stop blaming Mike Brown for that.
You're cooking, Matt. I 100% agree. It's crazy to me to hear people even be like, I think there's a lot of misconceptions about how all this went down. I did some other pod a while ago, and they were like, hey, I thought that part of the reason Mike got fired is because he didn't really get along with De'Aaron Fox. And I'm like, that could not be further from the truth. The exact same thing you just said with Keon. They wanted to play Mason Jones. And keep in mind who they is here, right? Because this isn't Monty McNair. This isn't Wes Wilcox. This is from higher up in the organization that did not want to play Keon Ellis. And so when people sit here and be, hey, we've been through 2 head coaches and neither one of them want to play Keon Ellis. Well, what's the consistency through all this, right? You're still under the same ownership. And if they feel a type of way about this player, then he's probably not going to get out there that much. And I do think that is as simple as it is. We know that Vivek is very involved in everything going on. And to an extent, I don't really blame him for that, right? Being involved, I get it. This is your business. You own this. This is your baby, essentially. But trust the people that you hire to do their job, essentially, right? I think you can have your input and people could tell you why you're wrong. But if you're not willing to listen to that, then in my mind, that's where the flaw comes in. And so, yes, I think to your point, Matt, I think that the fact that we've seen this over 2 coaching staffs, to me, that's not both coaches not liking Keon. We have had conversations with Mike and know that Mike likes Keon for a fact, right? He might be a little bit Steve Kerr, where he's going to rely on the veterans and doesn't really want to play the young guys. Hey, if you're messing up, then I'm going to pull you, That aspect certainly factors into this. But it's not a coincidence that 2 head coaches in a row are sitting here talking about defense. Hey, man, we just want to be a good defensive team. That's our priority. I don't even want to talk about the offense. It's all about defense. But by the way, I'm not going to play Keon Ellis. There is a flaw in this logic that goes higher than the coaching staff.
Brendan Nunez is all over this Sacramento Kings coverage for Sactown Sports. Check out the Sactown Sports app, SactownSports.com, to read all of his great work. Of course, follow the Instagram page, too, to see all of his videos of when Dylan Cardwell steps to the free throw line. Brendan, love you so much, my man. We'll talk to you very, very soon. Can't wait to have you back on. Have fun watching the game tonight and breaking it all down. And we got to take a break. We'll give our final preview of Kings Knicks coming up next.
Tonight Kings and Knicks. Game night with Scott Marsh and the high flyer Henry Turner.
Starts at 3 with tip-off at 4:30. Listen to your Sacramento Kings.
On the official home of Kings basketball, Sactown Sports 1140.
Celebrate the new year in style with a new Honda from Stockton Honda. Whether you're shopping new or pre-owned, Stockton Honda has the selection and savings. With new Hondas in stock and ready to go, now is the time to save on your favorite Honda in person or online. CR-V, HR-V, Pilot, Accord, Civic, and Ridgeline. It's a new year with endless possibilities. Get the deals that make it easy to say yes. Upgrade and save today at Stockton Honda.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com. Thunder, feel the thunder.
It's the energy all around you.
Lightning and the thunder.
The thrill of the moments to come. The flash of lights. The rush of pure exhilaration. The roar of the crowd. See it, hear it, feel it.
Feel the thunder. Lightning and the thunder.
Thunder Valley Casino Resort. Feel the thunder.
At Power Business Technology, we're not another big box corporation. We're your neighbors, locally owned and operated. We know what businesses like yours need, from reliable printers to high-performance copiers. We'll help you find the right solution with personal service you just can't get online. Need setup or support? We're just down the road and always happy to help. Power Business Technology, family hometown service with big-time solutions. Contact us today for all your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at powercopiers.com.
If you're serious about your golf game, then you need to know about Total Game Fitting at the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Whether it's the TrackMan-powered player performance studio for your best fit clubs, or the cutting-edge technology putter fitting studio, or the free Ballnamic ball fitter and 3D foot scanner, the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop offers you total game fitting from head to toe with equipment and apparel. Find your advantage at the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop with the latest offering of new golf products in Northern California. Fulton Avenue at the Cap City Freeway.
The Travel Guys, new on KHTK 1140 every Saturday at 11 a.m.
We'll make you a smarter traveler. Tips you can use on the road and at the airport, plus reports from top consumer advocates.
The Travel Guys, 11 a.m. on Sactown Sports 1140.
Guys, your New Year goals start now. Get limited time savings on our most popular treatments at Revive Men's Health. Visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com to see if you qualify to save hundreds.
You remember me from a show called And Joe? I'm back on the radio, Sacramento. It's Joe Mommy, and when you need your new country fix, join me weekdays from 6A to 10 for the Pat and Cody with Joe show on New Country 105.1 KNCI or on the free KNCI app.
Matt George and Kayla Anderson on Sactown Sports 1140.
Excited to talk to both Whitey Gleason and Alan Stiles, the Drive Guys, coming through for our crossover segment coming up next. But Kayla, they have a short show because we got Kings and Knicks basketball inside of Madison Square Garden tonight. I'm sure it's always pretty cool to play in the Garden regardless of how good or bad of a basketball team that you are. We shared earlier, or Kyle shared earlier with us, the spread is what, 15.5, minus 15.5 in favor of the New York Knicks?
I believe 14.5.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yep.
So that's what it was. I was wrong.
Yes.
Okay.
It's
So
been
it
14.
It didn't drop. It was always 14.5.
Which is always funny because we used to play this game with Alan, and every time he would be like, this is an absolute disgrace. The Kings are being disrespected, and every time they'd lose by double whatever the spread was.
This is correct. I think the Kings, not trying to Debbie Downer it, Kayla, I think the Kings are getting wiped tonight.
Yeah, we did this in crosstalk a lot, and I would always go with like a single digit trying to give some sort of respect. And this was like at the beginning of the year. So the fact that it's double digits is not surprising at all. I don't think it's going to be in favor of them tonight by any means. The Knicks want payback from what happened here in Sacramento. Obviously, the Knicks are a way better team, and I just think the Kings are in the midst of just turmoil right now with not knowing what's going on with the trade deadline, with bodies not knowing if they're going to be here come February 5th and beyond. It's just, it might be a walloping.
You shared that you forced your mother to watch Kings basketball
unfortunately
when she was here.
Yeah.
What when you were trying to explain Kings basketball to your mom and to those who have followed you here to Sacramento from your time at Tennessee or just in general, or Washington with the big Wazoo girl, and just in general, how did you either sell or try to describe Kings basketball and what the Sacramento Kings are doing to someone who has no freaking clue what's going on?
So my family's like super sports savvy, even my mom.
Mm-hmm.
And, growing up with Gonzaga basketball, like we watch a ton of Zags basketball.
Mm-hmm.
At least she does because she lives in Spokane. So she's used to like success and like not seeing a lot of losing. So my time in Tennessee prepared her for that.
Okay.
And so when I came here, while it wasn't the same sport, she kind of got the idea of like, oh yeah, you're coming in where there's a lot of turmoil and things don't look fun right now.
Nope.
And they don't look good on the court. But the one word she used, and I just cracked up because again, we had recorded it because we had watched the football games live. The one word she used was, "This is so boring."
Yeah. Yeah.
And I said, well, Mom, I don't get a pick, boring, exciting. I cover what I cover, and hopefully in the future, when I make you watch a Kings game, it won't be making you. It will be you get to.
Well, 3 years ago, they had the highest rated offense in NBA history.
They were so much fun. Everybody was watching Kings basketball. They were the League Pass team where everybody was like using their League Pass subscription to see what the Kings were doing and how much fun they were. I still have to show you that clip of Kevin Huerter's game winner.
Yes.
Remind me to do that during the break.
I do need to see that.
But was there any but Mom, look, here's Dylan Cardwell. Like at least we have Dylan Cardwell.
Oh no, the best part of it was at the end. And I said, I really like Nique Clifford. And I said, he is just a guy I hope that can grow in the organization. And I think fans like him too. And then he got in the little the scuffle, but she loved it.
She's like, yeah.
She's like, oh, okay. She was like, and
get him, Nique.
She was like telling my brother yesterday before she went to the airport. She was like, yeah, and there was a scuffle at the end. Like, it was really funny. That was her highlight of the entire game.
Did you see JB Bickerstaff's response to that? He talked about it apparently in an interview or whatever. And because I read it this morning, and I thought about bringing it up on the show and then kind of rolled my eyes at it. But he basically said, like, Ron Holland was in his complete right to retaliate that way because the kid from Sacramento, talking about Nique, the kid from Sacramento pushed him in the back. And when you push someone in the back, he thought it was Keon that did it, so he shoved Keon, but he's in his right. You push someone in the back, you're in your right to retaliate that way. I'm like,
no.
Bruh, like, Keon got a technical foul. Your guy got ejected because he full two-hand shoved someone for, like, getting pushed away in the back after he got tangled up with a player. Like,
exactly. With the score, what it was.
Relax. And again, this is the Pistons. This is who they are. And credit to them. It's working. You're the number one seed. You can talk your talk. You can walk your walk like that. But I saw JB's. I was like, come on, JB. Like,
he's still playing the part,
Your boy went over the top. You know it. I know you're cool with it because Doug Christie would have been cool with it.
Exactly.
So
we need to find out if he pays the fine.
Yeah, we do.
Of Nique.
We do need to find. I don't know. Well, Doug's one of the lowest paid coaches. I think Nique is probably making more than Doug. So
that's true.
I have to look at Nique's contract, but I'm pretty sure Nique is probably making more than Doug. So maybe Nique is probably paying it on his own. But I promise you, Doug was totally
he was happy
fine.
with that.
Well, we know Doug's at about $2 million.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Nique is making like
It's gotta be right, yeah.
4.5.
Right
but
above
I
that.
could be wrong. Nique Clifford contracts. Everyone hold. Just talk amongst yourselves. Let's see.
We'll see if Nique plays that.
Nique is 3.1, and then 3.2
so
next season. So he's more still than Doug. So he
Yeah.
probably paid his own fine, which is, by the way, like a technical foul fine is like pennies to these guys. It's a few $1,000s. I mean, it's a lot to us, but a few thousand. So it's not really that big of a deal. But I promise you, like we talked about, Kayla, Doug Christie was more than okay. Yeah. More than okay.
I liked to see it from Nique too. See that little side to him that has some pit bull in him.
And again, and I'm looking forward to seeing, like, how does can Nique build upon that performance? Because we've seen moments with Nique where it's like, there it is.
Exactly.
But it's been maybe over a quarter or over a stretch. Now this was like, you played 33 minutes of really good basketball in Detroit. I know the way that game went, it was a blowout. Newsflash, you're probably going to get blown out tonight again in New York. But I hope Nique gets a similar, like, 33-plus minutes of playing time, and I hope he stays aggressive. So I'm really paying attention to how Nique plays tonight.
It's hard to do that, I'm sure, as a young player, like, when it's all choppy like that, because you can never fully get into a consistent groove. And he was able to do that the other night, and I think he's going to have opportunities to do that more, where he finds his confidence, he finds his comfortability with what he's doing in the offense or just when he's on the floor in general. And I go back to Summer League because I just loved how it just came so natural, everything to him in Summer League. And I think eventually we could see that here in the league.
All right, Kayla, call your shot.
Oh.
Does Devin Carter play tonight? Like you talked about, for some reason.
Then I am. I'm going to say it because the pattern has held true on this show. Whenever we talk about one player not getting minutes for whatever the reason might be, the next game he ends up on the court for at least more minutes than he had seen before.
So Kayla thinks because no Zach LaVine and no Malik Monk tonight that Devin Carter will play. I think it's going to be Doug McDermott and his luscious hair, and we will ask both Whitey Gleason and Alan Stiles about that in the Crosstalk coming up after the break.
Tonight, Kings and Knicks. Game night with Scott Marsh and the high flyer Henry Turner.
Starts at 3 with tip-off at 4:30. Listen to your Sacramento Kings.
On the official home of Kings basketball, Sactown Sports 1140.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. JD Power ranks Sleep Number #1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses purchased in-store and online. And now the more you buy, the more you save on beds, bases, and more. Plus, get free home delivery on most beds with base. Limited time. For JD Power 2025 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. Check it out at a Sleep Number store today.
Finding excuses to not do your taxes? Unsure where to start? Sounds like you may be suffering from FOMO, the fear of messing up. The cure? Filing your federal and state taxes for free using TurboTax on Credit Karma. All you have to do is start and finish filing on your own in the Credit Karma app by February 28th. Just keep in mind, this offer is available only if you didn't file with TurboTax last year. It's time to break free from your fear of messing up. Start filing for free today in the Credit Karma app.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You need someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now you can meet them fast on ZipRecruiter.
Build your team, build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
Are you stuck staring at your W-2? Are tax refund worries holding you back? You probably have FOMO, the fear of messing up. The fix? Using TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They find every credit and deduction to help you get every refund dollar you deserve, or your money back. It's time to overcome your fear of messing up and get your taxes done right. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
For your big game party, you better pop in to Total Wine and More for a guaranteed win. We've got thousands of bottles down every aisle, and prices so low they're gonna make you smile. Ask our helpful guides for a recommendation to add some wine and beer to your beverage station. Discover something new and let the fun begin. Come on down to Total Wine and More for a guaranteed win.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Hello, everybody. Talking to Chad Hoblet here of Hoblet Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Chad, what's going on for the Start Something New sales event?
As the new year gets going, getting the family everywhere they need to be can be challenging, but it gets a lot easier when you save up to $8,000 off MSRP on new 2025 Jeep Grand Cherokees. They are one of America's favorite SUVs for a reason. It doesn't just get the job done, it gets it done in style.
It's true, the Jeep Grand Cherokee continues to be loved by everyone I know who has one.
It's easily one of the best SUVs on the road today. Whatever you're looking for, Hoblet is the place to go. From new Jeep Grand Cherokees to hundreds of certified pre-owned vehicles at the Hoblet Certified Pre-Owned Supercenter with over 100 vehicles under $30,000.
Time to start something new with Hoblet Dodge in Woodland. Search, select, and save through their whole inventory at HobletDodge.com. Unbeatable prices, unbeatable selection. Nobody beats Hoblet, period.
8,000 total net savings on select new 2025 Jeep Grand Cherokee L after $2,500 factory rebates and $5,500 dealer discounts. Due to this net savings,
exclusive. VIN number 746-802 and 746-803. See dealer for details.
Join Sactown Sports Downtown before every Kings game and pick up an In-Shape Fitness Kings Rally Towel while supplies last. If you walk, lift, stretch, or sweat, you belong. Start the year strong and join today at InShape.com.
Matt and Kayla on Sactown Sports 1140.
Crosstalk time! Yay!
Let's go. Oh, Alan, are you off the phone, Alan?
Yeah, I'll call you. Yes, I am.
Alan's always working the phones.
Yeah.
Alan is, Kyle Draper used to say he was the LeBron James of the station. Alan
do
Stiles,
hear
I think, is like the Rich Paul. He's just always on his phone, always wheeling and dealing.
There's a lot.
There it is.
Yeah,
You
there's
just
a lot
never
going
know.
on right now. So apologies, but I just had to finish up a pretty important call.
Yeah.
Before we got in here.
How is the CEO of Google?
Well, he's good.
Yeah,
he's good, but that wasn't Google. I would rather not get into it right now, but it's okay.
Fair.
Got it.
Yeah.
So have you facilitated the Keon Ellis trade? Have you finally gotten it done?
There are
across the finish line.
Yeah, there are a couple different options that we're looking at, and you can kind of hold strong. I think right now the conversation is: do you hold strong at that first rounder, or do you look at the 2 seconds and think that's okay? If one of those second rounders could be a Maxime Raynaud on their way to getting snubbed from the Rising Stars game, then that might be worth it. But if you don't think it's going to be that, then the question then becomes, is this too far gone with Keon and the relationship with the organization? So that's the conversation that's being had right now,
that's
just to
what you were on
keep
the phone
everybody
with.
kind of in the loop.
I love the idea of Alan Stiles as an advisor to Scott Perry, but he's just faxing screenshots of trade machines that he did at home.
Yeah.
Just faxing.
Yeah.
What about this one,
Scares me.
Scott?
What about this one?
You love it, but it scares me.
Yeah.
It terrifies
I
me.
hire him as my agent, though, and I
Thank you.
press my agents because they don't do a good enough job.
That's right.
Because I'm on it.
You would never have to.
I wouldn't have to worry about that with you.
Negotiate something for Kayla right now.
What are we negotiating?
Yeah, what are we negotiating? What do you want?
Money. I need money.
Money.
Yeah, well,
give her money.
It's very simple. When you look at who is the most important person and adds the most unique voice right now to the station, it's one person, and it's Kayla Anderson. And there's a reason that she's been all across the United States doing what she does best. So you can say no to the deal, but if you say no to the deal, you're saying no to the ratings that are on the way if you let her walk out that door.
Sharks?
Look at that. Didn't even blink.
Sharks?
The tone that he adopts.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Alan has, and he's got that really creepy one, and
That
that one's not as creepy.
Clay Thompson. Clay Thompson.
Well,
stuff.
I will hire her if she fires you. How about that?
If you want a deal for the Kimpton soy,
That's the sensual Stephen A. Smith voice.
So bad.
then that's going to cost you extra.
Gross.
For that reason, I'm out.
Kyle Ledbetter
No,
the Shark
I'm
is out.
I'm out.
No, wait, you can't fire me. I
Yeah.
quit.
I'm out. All right? That's what it is.
He's quite the student of the game, though. I texted him last night. Koa Pete's on against DeBonsa. I texted him. He's like, I'm watching.
Yeah. Wasn't a great game from DeBansa. And I know the conversation has been, hey, he doesn't typically show up against kind of the upper echelon of teams. So
he'd be perfect in Sacramento.
Yeah, well, yeah. I don't know.
Right in. It was a good game, though.
They're called, you got obviously Puka Nacua, who's a slant merchant, and you got DeBansa, who's a midi merchant.
Oh, put him with DeMar.
That's right. He
Put
can
him with
learn from the
DeMar.
Bears.
There we go.
Just a midi party.
Boy.
The midi committee.
Way to make, I love AJ, and way to make him sound less appealing.
I mean, last night, it was a lot of, I was grinding film last night.
Grinding film.
It was a lot of, let me fade away with 20 seconds on the shot clock.
Sam Vecini said the same thing. Sam Vecini was
Maybe we spoke.
Oh, is that who you're on the phone with?
That's who he's on the phone with.
I can't say.
He can not confirm or deny. Well, when we do these crosstalks, I'm always thinking of, hey, like what's the most important aspects of the show that I can ask you about? So I've landed on this. What is your guys' opinions of two-lane drive-throughs?
Yeah, I saw the posts on social, and I'm also the person that, I know a lot of people say this, but I truly always pick the wrong line at the grocery store.
Oh, yep.
So
that's a biggie too.
It all kind of blends together for me, so I just assume whichever one I'm going to pick is going to be
bad.
the worst one.
Yeah.
But I don't mind the fact that there are two options.
Yeah. Well, I do. It irritates me before I make a bad decision.
Yeah. I feel like I I come out ahead in that. I don't know, but I feel good about it. I feel like I have that. If you ever played football, you get the ball and you have to make that instant read and react. And I have faith in that. I feel like I drive up there. I just glance at it. I know kind of instinctively which lane to get into.
That's Whitey for you.
Whitey knows ball.
Whitey knows, man.
Whitey's a natural athlete. He knows what lane to pick in McDonald's.
He does.
Well, that's the other thing too, right? How many other fast food places have it?
Chick-fil-A.
Almost all of them now.
Really?
Go to Roseville. They're like 6
I
lanes.
only have seen McDonald's.
Chick-fil-A is the craziest one.
Well, I just
For
order
sure.
ahead.
You do?
Yeah, I pick it up.
That's smart.
Pick it up, get in, get out.
Chick-fil-A doesn't even have drive-through windows anymore. They have full-on doors. Like, they just open the door and bring you your food out on the side.
Yeah, I've never seen that. I don't know.
Go to Roseville.
I've never had to
Chick-fil-A in
do a
Roseville.
Chick-fil-A drive-through. I just order ahead.
Yeah.
I walk in, get some steps in for my, for my mac and cheese.
Good for you.
And I get on out
He
of
gets
there.
his work done ahead
You
of time.
get
That
3
Alan
steps
Styles.
in.
That's right. That's what I need.
He gets his
That's all I
use
need.
technology to
One
save
for
time,
each
like
bite
the
of
DMV.
mac and cheese.
Hey.
That mac and cheese is good.
It is good.
Well, on actual topic, talking about tonight's game. So Kings.
That wasn't an actual topic.
Well, I mean, that's in Matt's brain, but not to the listener.
Carmichael Dave's show, that's like 90
That
minutes.
is.
That's
Easy.
true. That's true. We're trying to.
we talked about sprinkling today.
Oh, well.
And colon tests.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I did not know this. Apparently, there's a test that you have to poop into a box and like send the poop off to.
Cologuard.
It's great. It's great for.
Why do you know that so confidently?
I mean, it's the commercials.
Alan, we're a long way away.
They do
No, not
advertise
me personally.
I
have, some family history, so
too.
I've had a couple colonoscopies. I actually can't poop in a box because if you're if it runs in your family, if it runs in your family, then you got to get the real deal.
It's a poop in a box.
Because you're pooping in the box, and then they look at what's in there, and then you go get the colonoscopy.
I don't know how this happened.
You can't just.
I don't want to get it out of the way on the
Carmichael
crosstalk.
Dave.
So
You
I
want
don't
to
have to
Believe
get
it
it
or
out.
not,
You want to get it out into the box.
So that's how the conversation started, and then Kayla destroyed the entire thing with something I don't feel comfortable saying. If you want to say it, you can.
No,
But Kayla said it all.
I said when you have to take a drug test to like go into a company or whatever, you have to pee in a cup. And for guys, you don't have a problem. For girls, it's like a sprinkler. You have issues.
That derailed the entire crosstalk this morning.
Wow.
Dave was a mess. Well,
Oh,
I
I'm
was
sure.
a mess, and Dave was a mess afterwards.
Yeah. But I had to do that, in school. They'd wake you up 6 a.m.
Yep.
After a really good game by me, wake up.
Relax.
Wake up. Hey,
So it happened maybe twice?
once a semester.
Hey, bud.
Once a semester.
You went 1 for 4 with an RBI.
Yeah.
Let's check for PEDs.
Alan, let's get you in here, man.
Have we done?
You know the drill, brother.
Have we done the Allen Styles baseball numbers on the airwaves
We've
yet?
done them plenty. There's no
I've
need
never
to.
done them.
No, because I've heard they're good.
There's no need. Whitey, he's the one, man.
I need to see.
Yeah,
that.
he's a good player. He's a
Whitey
good
reads
player.
them once
The
a
scouting
week.
report is more fun than the actual numbers.
Oh, I
Yeah.
know.
Oh,
No,
scouting
we
report
need to
is
get our
best.
hands on that.
More thing is ask him to tell the story how he became a left fielder. That's
No. There's no time for all
We'll get to that at another time. But we do have Kings and Knicks tonight. And Kayla and I were talking a lot about Devin Carter. I know that's a conversation you guys have had a lot about him not getting playing time, him not getting opportunity. You have no Malik Monk, and you have no Zach LaVine tonight, in addition to no Keegan Murray.
Yeah.
This seems like if there's going to be an opportunity to give Devin Carter any time that's not garbage time, it seems like tonight. And I still don't think Doug Christie's going to do it.
Well, I think it turns into a conversation of, is this thing just too far gone?
Yeah.
Right? One thing that Malik has said, Scott Perry, the most transparent GM that he's ever worked with, maybe Scott Perry and Devin Carter had a conversation, and it's just a waiting game right now, and they don't feel a need to go to him. Or maybe it's Doug. Maybe he's tripping people in practice. I don't know what Devin's doing. He's just running around
weird,
tripping
though.
people. He's just throwing bananas
Is
on
that
the
where all the injuries are coming from? Devin Carter
is tripping people.
Devin Carter is hurting people.
That's right.
Zach LaVine's lower back soreness is because Devin Carter punched him in the back.
I don't know what it is, but we were talking about a list of just guys and things that it's just hard to argue anymore. I call it the Harrison Barnes rule. When Sac Media stopped asking Mike Brown about Harrison Barnes coming off the bench. So that's my Harrison Barnes rule, just stuff that I'm kind of over.
Yep.
And I feel like I'm kind of beat down on the Devin Carter thing. I feel like they win. You don't want to play him, don't play him.
My guess is that, Scott Perry talked about him playing at point guard, and we talked to him on media day, and he can do that, but I don't know that he's crazy about it, and I don't know that they're crazy about the fact that he's not crazy about doing something like that. I'm guessing it's, some of those things. And he's a smaller player, and he doesn't play point, and he doesn't shoot that well. So in the NBA, it's like, bro, there's so many ways you make your way into the league. Yeah. So, but that's just a guess.
Oof,
Whitey basically said he's small, he can't dribble, and he can't shoot.
But he went in the first round.
Yeah?
Hey, I didn't exactly say that, but
he paraphrased it.
Yikes.
Because I like him and I think he should play. I'm just trying to guess why he doesn't.
Yeah.
Is the emotional tap spent for the Mike Brown narratives of tonight's game?
Never.
Not between him and Doug.
Well, no. Dap Watch is going to be huge tonight. Dap Watch was a success.
Happening.
No, it's not happening.
It's not.
But it's going to be somebody. But here's the thing. Sabonis did not play in the first game.
Right.
So that is the new episode of Dap Watch, and I don't think it's going to happen.
I don't think Keon played either, did he? And when the Kings played the Knicks in Sacramento? I don't think Keon played.
Yeah. He had that. He didn't. It's not that he sat. Did he sit or was he injured?
I don't remember.
I know Sabonis was out.
I thought
Sabonis
it was a DMP for Keon in that one.
Sabonis was out. Malik was definitely geeked up to play.
Yes.
But
didn't have a good game.
Yeah, we'll see what Sabonis does because this should be a get-right game, you would think, for the Knicks.
What's coming up on the shortened show of the Drive Guys taking you up before Kings pregame?
We're going to talk about who has the tougher job right now, Coach Doug Christie or General Manager Scott Barry.
Ooh, that's a good topic.
A good topic that we might steal on tomorrow's show because all we do is take from Alan Stiles and Whitey Gleason. It's what we do. Take the genius and make it our own. You've been listening to Matt and Kayla on Sactown Sports. Enjoy the Drive Guys coming up next. We'll see you tomorrow.
Pete.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to